What is good, everybody? Sorry, you've just come across this window randomly. Let's get some gameplay going, shall we? Let's do this. There we go. We are live. Welcome to the Worldwide Company of Gamers podcast, episode 20. 20, my dudes. Please let me know how the sound is. How is the audio? Can you hear me okay? Is the audio good? We have got the biggest panel ever. Let me get the Discord up for you guys to see. Where is it? It's not appearing. I don't know why it's not appearing. This is very weird. I will fix that. I don't know what's going on. Do apologize. Something's going on. We'll fix that. But guys, we've got 3, 6, 9 including myself on the panel tonight. And if you give me a little bit of time behind the scenes whilst everybody's talking, I'll get the panel showing up on the Discord sooner rather than later. But before that time, let me tell you who we have on. It's a very special episode. We have the 20th episode to celebrate. It's Christmas. It's just going to be all around an epic show, and we've got some of the best names going on this show tonight. So we've got the usuals like Akira Wilhelmowski. We've got Chris Righteous making his special appearance. David Faulkner, Toolman once again. Shaky Shako, a beloved member of the podcast who has been a huge support of the podcast for a long time. He is now on the podcast. How awesome is that? And we have Zubitech. Yes, Zubitech is on for the third time of the show. What an absolute honor. He's just hit 5K on Twitter, 5,000 followers. Just got a follow from Herman Hulst as well. I mean, it's pretty much been Christmas for him all round in all areas, but it's so well deserved. I voted him my number one most essential mutual to follow because of his content, how he brings the goods. So let's get this show on the road, my dudes. Let's get this awesome show underway. We have Retro, the Family Man Gamer as well. Don't know if I mentioned him, but making his second appearance on the show. Real big honour to have him, because like Shaky, he's a big supporter of the show, as well as Toolman as well. With Faulkner as well and his knowledge, it's going to be very appropriate to have him on, because we're going to be discussing some pretty big things to do with Sony breaking certain records. But that being said, let's introduce first of all our regular panel. Akira, what's good, my dude?
Belated Merry Christmas to all of you. Hope everybody's doing great. Been just been gaming a lot. I've been trying to get the platinum for Kena Bridge of Spirits, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm one trophy away from it. So basically, yesterday I spent like 12 hours to beat all the bosses from start to finish, and then I reached a standstill with the final boss, the corrupt rot god, because it's so tedious and long and annoying, and I might not get the platinum because of it, to be honest.
Akira, I know exactly how you feel, because that was my last trophy. Your last trophy is the Master Spirit Guide
Dude,
difficulty trophy. And the last boss, I mean, some of the bosses in the hardest difficulty gave me some trouble.
No, they were great.
The last boss was the most tedious, because after you do the first phase, then you gotta go fight the Wood Knight, which is tedious to fight the Wood Knight because
HP.
Yeah, he has a lot of HP and he does a lot of damage and stuff like that. Then you got to go through the second phase, and then
there's no checkpoints.
And then you don't start out. You start off each phase without any of your rot and anything like that. So yeah,
dude. After dying 20 times, I'm like, nah, fuck this, man. I'm playing Integrate. Basically, I'm understanding now. By the way, I understand now, Chris, why you're so much more hyped than I felt before when you played Integrated and I wasn't able to play it yet, so I couldn't properly relate. But now that I've played it and played Yuffie's, let's say first 6 hours, dude, yeah, man, the sequel is gonna be it's gonna slap, it's gonna slap hard. It's just so good. The remake or Integrate really makes me speechless, visually, gameplay wise. Everything is just smooth and working and functioning right. It's just fun and a great voice acting, great character build up, great cutscenes.
Somebody's just shout out to the unknown. He just said you sound like Satan, because when you're speaking there's this deep hum to your voice.
Sorry.
No, mate, you sound great. It sounds awesome, but there's a deep hum to your voice, which is really funny to listen to, and it sounds like Satan. I love it.
No, I'm it's when I'm too excited, that's when I sound, what do you call this? Young or something. But no, again, I don't know why anybody would not be excited for gaming in the future. It's just fucking exciting, man. Just give it all to me, right? I want it all, and the experiences with Integrate right now, going for a second playthrough and going for Yuffie DLCs, I'm just fucking excited. This is all I'm gonna say. And every other game that's coming out next year, I'm just so ready. And I praise PlayStation because PlayStation gives me the games. Mm-hmm. And anybody's gonna get mad at me or give me threats because of it, and catch the block, man. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing it anymore. All right. But yeah, it's so bizarre, man. Like praising PlayStation is such a predicament nowadays. So I'm just gonna keep on doing it. Gonna keep praising PlayStation. I'm gonna find angry people and just gonna keep blocking them all because I don't need this shit.
Yeah, facts, bro. I don't need it. Ain't nobody got time for that. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to Compost Smurf, Shaky Shako, who's on the panel, Zubitech, again on the panel, Brian King, Twisted Sin, The Unknown. Shout out to Neverland. Some new names here. What's good, Neverland? Grateful you're here. There's a Russian dude, Vask.tech. He wrote. I can't read his name. I'm very, very sorry. But I think it's like the something or other. It's great that you're here, my dude. If you can hear me, Lothric Ahmed. It's great that you're here, dude. I recognise the name. What's good? Merry Christmas to you, Mike, Andy. So many awesome new, fresh, and regular names here. Jonathan Martinez. All of you are awesome. Shout out to this lit channel, lit chat tonight. Thank you for being here. Grateful that you're all here to enjoy this epic show. It's going to be so good. But like Akira was saying, what PlayStation offer is second to none. I put together this little banner art, which I have to say I'm very proud of. I'm a little bit too proud.
No, it looks great, man. Looks great.
And I hope you guys like it. Just showcasing some of the many games PlayStation have provided us in literally. These are only from the last generation, PS4 and PS5. This isn't including IPs from PS2, PS3 era, and this isn't even including every one of them. I've left some out. I've left Bloodborne out. I know that sounds sinful, but I just couldn't get a clear image of the main protagonist in 4K, unfortunately. So,
dude, you should have included Project Eve, bro.
I know. I'm holding off on that. But you're right. I've not got room for all of them. I've not got room for all of them.
Yeah,
but...
Joker's not there from Persona.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Persona.
It's more like play
also,
is limited.
Grand Blue. Could have also from Grand Blue. Again, there's so many games. I told people, man. So many games. Like, what you guys
Grand Blue
talking
Fantasy
about?
Relink, that looks insane. But look at this panel tonight. Look at it. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I'm so proud.
Good. Merry Christmas, everyone. Yeah.
Merry Christmas to everyone. So great that you're here, Akira. What's good? Zubitech, my dude.
I hope everyone had a good Christmas.
You too, brother. Hey, congratulations on the 5,000. That's amazing.
Yeah, congratulations, bro.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, I appreciate it.
Further congratulations on Herman Holst acknowledging your work, my dude. You got a mutual in Herman Holst. How amazing is that?
Yeah, someone tweeted at me and they said, do you know that Herman Holst is following you? First I thought it was like fake or something, and then I actually saw it and I was just blown away. I thought, what?
Yeah, honestly,
nice.
Zuby,
man.
let me.
The man himself is following.
I'm not blowing smoke up your ass here, dude. It is the most deserved mutual anybody has ever earned. Seriously, like you deliver such quality content to all of us. You're essential. You're essential in the community, and you have this passion for all things tech. Like I sometimes, out of curiosity, go on your feed to see what you're talking and what you're tweeting and who you're chatting with. And you know what, bro? You're there talking about the deep technological innovations of Sony, not just PlayStation, but all things going on behind the scenes about things that I have no idea about. I have no idea what you're talking about, but you do, and you're excited about all these developments.
It's actually cool as Zubitech is here, because again, this man, he looks at what do you call this? Job listings, right? Zubitech.
Yeah.
And was very curious. Like, there's this new job listing from Pixel Opus recently. They're using Unreal Engine 5 now, and Zubitech, you saw it, right? I saw it from you actually.
Yeah.
I saw it from you, so I wanted to ask you more about that. It's actually cool that you're here.
Whilst Nabrico's in the chat, shout out to Nabrico. I'm not sure if he can make the podcast tonight. But just want to give him a huge shout out and a huge thank you. Nabrico's been a huge supporter of the channel. He's actually gone behind the scenes and overhauled my entire Discord.
Yeah, man, did great.
And he's overhauling it to the point where there's game lobbies, there's waiting rooms, there's PvP and PvE fighting arena lobbies as well for people to hook up and play games together over voice chat. There's so much going on, and he's only getting started. So a massive thank you to Nabrico. I know I've heard he's going through some struggles in real life at the moment, some issues, but I hope they get sorted, my brother. And just a big thank you, Nabrico, for being a real Chad and a real godsend to this channel, and for helping me so much with the Discord. So it's appreciated. So yeah, thank you, Zuby, for being here. Super grateful, brother. It's an absolute honor. What have you been playing recently, my dude?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks to you guys as well. Thanks for the invite as well. Even talking amongst you guys is like it's I find it crazy. Like, you get to talk to someone like on the internet is you make friends with like on Twitter. And it's just crazy, and just thank you for the words as well. But I've been playing a bit of Knack, to be honest. Been playing it. It's such a good game, an underrated game on PlayStation.
You know, I quite enjoyed Knack. It's not my cup of tea. Fully, I know Knack 2 is better. I've heard good things about that.
Yeah,
it's got a bit of a cult. It's got a bit of a cult following, Knack 2, hasn't it? It's a bit of a cult classic.
But Knack. Yeah. It's the Sony game. Mark Cerny.
But
it's the game from Mark Cerny.
I was just playing a bit of this bad boy that you can see playing now. On
what is that?
PC. It's Overdrive, Sunset Overdrive. Great game. Honestly, like, Insomniac having this IP, being able to make a sequel for PlayStation is going to be nuts.
It's Sunset Overdrive.
Such a good game. Yeah, that's awesome, my dude. That's awesome, Zuby, and your humility knows no bounds. Like, there you are, still as grateful as ever.
Playing on PC, right?
Yeah, playing on PC.
It's running well.
Running great, running a dream. Mr. David, let's get Wilhelm. Wilhelm, how are you, my bro?
I'm doing great. Wishing all the people in the chat and the panel as well a Merry Christmas. I know Christmas was delightful to me because now I finally have a TV that's bigger than my monitor, and gaming on that thing is like, it makes some games like entirely different experiences, because now you can grasp like all the detail, which is quite fantastic. And I also want to shout out an small indie title called The Spy Who Shot Me, which is and spiritual successor to GoldenEye, and a funny James Bond spoof at the same time. Like, if you haven't played this game yet, or if you haven't heard of it, I recommend you checking it out. It's really fun. GoldenEye spiritual successor. It's called The Spy Who Shot Me.
What's it called?
It's called The Spy Who Shot Me. It's on Steam. You're not on Steam anymore, you told me.
Yeah, I'm not on Steam anymore, sorry.
Yeah, look if it's anywhere else, because it's really good. It's a really good game. And also, Akira, could you do me a Christmas favor? At the spirit of the holiday, the festive love, I want you to say February.
I'm sorry, Akira. There's a little joke going on because we know you struggle with that word.
Yeah.
Come on,
man.
Try it. Do it.
Wilhelm, you're so outrageous, bro.
Man.
Oh,
you're like, nah.
Bless him. Listen,
It's like us.
Nah.
you're so mean, dude. I mean, I know you troll your friends, but bloody hell.
Dude, I just wish that someday, when I'm a financially stable man, that I'm able to visit Akira in Japan, visit him and his beautiful wife, and I know it will be delightful to me because he doesn't get my humor, and I don't think his wife will as well. It will be just like one big delight to me. I don't care if they're entertained.
Yeah.
It will be just one fest for me, and then at the end of the day, his wife is just asking who the fuck was that.
Bro,
I don't want to see that man in my house again.
Moving on. You don't need to say February, Akira. It's all good. But
it's all good.
But no, honestly, it's all like banter. We love that about you, dude. It's a funny quirk. And we take the piss out of each other. You know, we're friends. That's what friends do. I'm sure there's things about me that could be taken the piss out of, like my receding hairline, or I don't know, whatever. But
by the way, guys, Sunset Overdrive is definitely going to PlayStation. It's not even a secret.
We've seen that little teaser, haven't we?
It's definitely, I mean, they won't get the IP if 100%. They won't get the IP if they have no plans for it.
Right.
And they kept teasing it too. So
Chris Righteous, the righteous one. How are you, dude? Oh shit! He's showing off his camera here. He's gone muted.
Nah, man, I think he's mispressed.
We'll come back to him.
Mispressed. Chris Righteous mispressed you.
Nah, that was on accident.
All right, no worries. How are you, dude? You okay?
What's up, everybody? Yeah, man. Merry Christmas.
Merry
you know
Christmas
what I mean? Happy birthday to God, Jesus. You know what I mean? First and foremost.
Yeah, bro.
But shout out to everybody here. Shout out to Willie.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what's crazy? As like, this was just like a last minute thing that I jumped on because I was actually thinking, my wife, she's at work right now, so I was like, I wanted to do a space talking about my tweet that I did. I think it was yesterday when I tweeted out that for me, right, that PlayStation and Nintendo, both platforms are gonna have an insane year next year in 2022. Like they're gonna completely dominate when it comes to PlayStation, when it comes to Horizon, God of War, right? Possibly FF16 if that shows up. We got to see how Forspoken does as well, right? And then on the Nintendo side, Breath of the Wild 2, Bayonetta 3.
Oh yeah, I saw this tweet.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to Triangle Strategy, which is the tactics game from the Octopath Traveler devs or whatever. That game looks really good as well, and in a few more. And so, but I was like, I was bored. I'm gonna do a space, but then I seen Willie's DM, and I was like, oh snap! Matter of fact, why don't y'all just hop in there? What's up? What you gonna say?
Glad you're here, bro. Fellow TSGP brother. There's one thing. This show, it always has always an open door to my fellow Saltiest Gaming podcast panel members, and so whenever TSGP bros, whether it's Axel, whether it's Chris, whether it's Salty himself or Kofi, any of them decide to come onto the show, it's always a privilege because family first, So thanks for being here.
Yeah, Chris actually also wanted to do a space because after my frustration with the corrupt broadcast at Kina, I wanted to make a discussion about difficulty. When is it fair and when is it unfair and when is it cheap?
Yeah.
And when is it justifiable?
Speaking of,
because I think corrupt broadcast is fucking cheap, man. I'm serious.
We are definitely not discussing that on tonight.
We're gonna definitely have some clashing ideals behind that. But
spaces.
Because speaking of difficulty, because the games that I'm playing right now, I'm like literally near the end of Shin Megami Tensei 5, and I'm playing that on hard mode, and it's pretty challenging, but I feel like it's very fair for once you learn the mechanics and learn what to do and
that's what I meant.
How to do things. I'm also playing Lost Judgment. I just started Lost Judgment.
I just want to ask
2 days ago.
I just want to ask the chat.
That's awesome.
I want to ask the chat, guys. I've tried to do something with the video capture on what you're seeing on screen now. I know you can stream this in 1440p if your internet is good enough, and feel free to watch it in 1440p. But I want to see, is the game footage crisper now? Is it clear? Because it used to be quite blurry.
I'm watching it.
Oh, great! That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. I can't get 1440p up because it will slow my bandwidth right down to the point where I'm also streaming, I'm hosting. You know, I can't.
1080p normally is sufficient.
Yeah, normally. I know, but I like to have it nice and crisp for people, because I know like people like Shaky Shako, they watch it on the big TV. And speaking of Shaky Shako, I'm so freaking honoured you're here, my dude. I don't know if have I given you your intro yet. If not,
no, it's his turn.
Intro it's again. Shaky, where are you? Unmute yourself. You've muted your mic. There you are. Being a long supporting member of the channel, it's an absolute honour to have you here, to hear your voice for the first time. What a privilege. How are you doing, my guy?
I'm doing good. I'm a little nervous here. I'm doing well here right now. Hello, everybody. The name's Shaky Shako.
Shaky Shako.
Yeah, I've been allowing everybody to say Shaky.
Oh, it's Shaky. It's Shaky Shako. No way. Mind blown.
Yeah. It's not. It doesn't relate to anything about shaking stuff.
I love it.
Okay, I just like to write it that way because it has a Y at the end, and I just love the Y at the end.
Hey Shaki, you know what, man? It's such an honor and privilege to hear you. I think everybody in the panel will agree. You're one of the biggest supporters of the show. You are always tweeting us out and always supporting the channel, and it's just really nice to, on this 20th episode, to have you with us. So thank you for saying yes to joining us. I know that you're nervous, bro, but hey, dude, we're all just regular people, just discussing our passion, and so don't need to worry. You can't say anything wrong, and we're just really glad that you're here. What have you been playing recently, my dude? And tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay. First about what I've been playing, then about myself. I just recently finished 2 games yesterday, and those were Death's Door and Solar Ash. Both are really great games, indie games. I do recommend both. Death's Door is more of a Zelda-like, what I've heard. It's super solid. I can't stress that enough. I don't have any complaints about it. It used to be a Xbox exclusive. It then came to other platforms, and I'm very thankful because that's a game. It should be enjoyed by everybody. It's very special. And Solar Ash, a timed console exclusive, actually was really good. I really like the platforming in that game. It's a game that itched an itch that I got from Ratchet and Clank. You remember the hover boots from that game? Yeah. They just didn't use it to create more platforming specifically designed around those hover boots. Because I could do tricks, could actually cross so many stuff in Ratchet and Clank that made it so easy for me to do it, but no level that demanded the challenge to use them at the fullest capacity. In this game, it's all about skating, dodging some of the enemies. I don't know how to explain it exactly, but super good. And I really wish that they had photo mode for it because I was
Solar Ash.
Solar Ash, yeah. I would have liked to do much better picture screenshots because I was sharing the gameplay and the screenshots of the world. It's really nice. It has it's like Mario Galaxy, where it literally it's like a planet, different gravitational pulls. It's a different experience when you play it. Those are the 2 recent games I've finished, and I've been playing other games such as replaying Spider-Man remastered because of the film.
That game's so replayable, bro. I don't know what it is. Like, eventually, like, I get a bit tired of the swinging, but I always think fondly about that entire scene that plays out in the construction site with Fisk. And it's such a memorable, iconic moment in that game for me that it always pulls me back in to play it again. I don't know why.
It's unforgettable. It keeps drawing me back. This is my second playthrough. I haven't been playing it for over a year or something like that. I've been playing other games, but I played all DLCs. I'm gonna play it again and get the final trophies to 100% it. I already got the platinum for it, but I just want the full 100% with the new game plus and the ultimate challenge. That's another game I've been replaying, but I've also been playing other games, testing out new fighting games such as, not new, but for me it's new, like Mortal Kombat 10 and Street Fighter 5, and I've been testing out Virtual Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown. Still don't have I'm not getting the grips into it, but I'm getting there somewhat. But I'm having fun with them, and let me shout out the DFN Duel. Is it called, or what is it called?
DNF Duel.
Yeah.
DFN.
DNF Duel.
Yeah.
Duke Nukem Forever.
Duke Nukem Forever. Yeah. I'm really excited for DFN.
It's the only, yeah.
Yeah, I played it. Played against other players. It was really fun, even though I got my butt kicked. But I did get some wins. It was so thrilling, and it made me want to buy the Guilty Gear Strive.
Day one. Day one next year.
Day one.
That's awesome, dude.
One.
Yeah, they're incredibly talented. They produce the best looking and most unique fighting games out there, in my opinion.
Yeah, Arc System works, man.
Yeah, they're
really puzzling.
This one,
understated.
DNF Duel, their Arc System Works, they're doing like a lot of the systems when it comes to like the graphics and the character models and stuff like that. But
yeah, no,
is they're co-developing the game with 18, which is another fighting game dev, which is the
also
dev
legendary.
that work with. Yeah, they're legendary because they work with Capcom on Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Bloody
back
Roar
on the
3 as well.
PS3 and 360, because you can see
Tatsunoko
some of
versus
their
Capcom.
Shout out to
you can see some of their signature moves, because they the ones who came out with Dante, and then when you look at Gunslinger, he has like literally like Dante moves and stuff like that. So I bet. Go ahead, Willie. Shout out to who?
Shout out to Wolfaki in the chat. Don't want to embarrass. Don't want to embarrass this guy, but he's a good friend on Twitter. And he's fallen on some hard times. He lives in Greece, and obviously you guys know the situation with Greece, the whole economical collapse, and times have been hard for him and his family. And basically, I recommended him to a Kaylee. She's called Kaylee. She's on Twitter. And she's giving away a copy of Horizon Forbidden West, and he's actually won it. So he still has his PS5, which is great, and so he'll be getting a free copy of Horizon Forbidden West. So kind of made his Christmas, no doubt. So happy Christmas, Wolfaki, and I'm really, really happy for you, my dude, and I really hope
Christmas, man.
The struggles that you're going through get better. And yeah, remember, the internet is your best friend during times like this, because there's so many ways to make money with a bit of, if you do some homework and really spend time trying to figure out a way around it. That people in Greece, obviously employment must be difficult there, so just keep searching, bro. Don't give up, and keep your head up, and look forward to Horizon Forbidden West in February. You really do deserve it, my guy. So shout out to him. But yeah, Kay is a darling.
By the way, I just wanted to say, Arc System Works, right? Arc System Works is kind of like before, when what I felt about Blue Point games. Remember what I said before with Blue Point when they were not acquired yet? I said something like, Blue Point belongs to PlayStation because they feel like a PlayStation studio already.
Yeah.
That's why they said, right? And Arc System Works for me is kind of on the same boat now. Be honest, like
there's a few,
like they feel like a
few
PlayStation studio to me now.
We will touch on this because we're going to be discussing all things PlayStation during this podcast. The shout out to the Family Man Gamer. Let's get him chatting. How are you, my dude? It's great that you're here for the second time. Another big supporter, similar to Shaki. It's great that you're here. Your mic's muted, so.
Sorry, my it just wasn't unmuting there for some reason.
How are you, my dude?
I'm well, man. How are you?
Good, mate. My fellow Brummie. My mum's from Birmingham, so I could call you my fellow Brummie. Great.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
For those who don't know the term Brummie, it's a name assigned those who are from Birmingham in the UK. So that explains his subtle accent. You can hear a bit of an accent in when he speaks. It's quite unique.
What makes it worse though is that I've lived in Northern Ireland for the last decade and a half, so my accent's just messed up, man.
Yeah. It's an awesome accent, bro. It's kind of I love it. But how are you keeping, my guy? What you been playing? Merry Christmas.
I'm good. Merry Christmas to you and everybody as well. I haven't really been playing much. Jumping in and out of Forza Horizon at the minute. It's just I've been with Christmas obviously and the 4 kids. I've just been working flat out between me and the wife, just working flat out. So unfortunately, other than Horizon, I haven't played much. I've got a couple sitting here. Back 4 Blood sitting here and a couple of other little co-op games and stuff. Is it bad? Is it really that bad?
I've heard it's a big disappointment for fans of Left 4 Dead.
Dude, I literally bought it because I seen it today for £20.
It's probably worth it for 20 quid, I imagine, yeah.
I had a mate in work was begging me to get on with it because he's got it and he wants to play co-op. So I thought, at £20, if it's garbage, oh well, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. Well, we'll have Compost Smurf in the chat who likes to play devil's advocate, going, but Family Man Gamer, you should have just played it on Game Pass. But to be honest, 20 quid, it's not much different. It's worth it in my opinion. It's a good price. Yeah. It's a good price.
I mean, I have access to Game Pass. I do have access to Game Pass.
I just never.
But then it doesn't.
Never use it.
Game Pass doesn't have a DualSense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so true. So true, my dude.
And I don't own anything on Game Pass. I own this disc now. This is mine. I can play it when I want.
Big facts. David Faulkner, fellow. I say fellow. I don't know. You're not a fellow Aussie. Fellow gamer, fellow friend, fellow mutual. It's awesome that you're here, my dude. It's an absolute honour to have you on. Similar to Zubitech, for those who don't know, David Faulkner has a good insight on certain aspects of the industry, different from Zuby, different speciality. So combined, they make quite a formidable unit when it comes to following these guys, because David is all things business analytics, and he's very, very good with numbers and knowing what's going on with the whole financial side of things as well. So how are you doing, Faulkner? It's great that you're here.
Doing well. Apologies for the Brummie thing. I didn't realise we had Brummies on the panel. I got a funny story I'll tell you one day about that.
It's all good. We take that all without announcing the tea. You're right. You're not wrong.
I'll share it. When I was at uni, I was in a lecture, and we had the lecturer was getting stuck into us because he was from Birmingham, and he goes, "Oh, you bloody Aussies, you never use your T's properly. It's better, not better."
It's better. And I like the way that you say better.
Me being the smart ass that I am, I put my hand up and I said, "Hey, sir, can you say turtle, please?" I got kicked out of the classroom for that one.
I got some. Yeah. Those are stories that I can't tell. I can't tell this.
Anyway, so I'll get back on topic. So things going well. Christmas with the family. First time I'd seen them in nearly 2 years. Wow. Thanks to the border closures we've had here in the country. things are going not too bad. Wrapped up Days Gone, got the platinum for that about a few weeks before Christmas, and was working through Concrete Genie. Just young son and I were playing that, and just mucking around with a few other bits and pieces. Getting ready when I get back from holidays, get home to jump in and get stuck into Final Fantasy 14 if the bloody servers are working.
I'm so jealous, man, because I'm really sore about that game. I've bought it twice, and twice I've been unable to play because the server, the security thing that they've got going on with their website, how you have to log in and the way that they handle it is so bad that it's just resulted in, oh, we've detected an IP change. Please buy a security token to unlock your account, and that costs $18.99. It's like theft, bro. It
is. It genuinely is, eh? But yeah, no, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful because I originally bought it on PS3, and I started it up then, and I sort of played for an hour or two, and I got sidetracked because a couple of other games had come out, and I was more interested in playing them. I think it was Metal Gear Solid 4 and Batman Arkham Knight, I think. Not Arkham Knight. Can't remember what the other one was. Sorry, but Arkham Origins, because it was not the Rocksteady game; it was the other one. Anyway, I got stuck.
Origins. I'd say Arkham Origins is a much better game than Arkham Knight, in my opinion.
I'll agree. I'll agree with you on that.
It wasn't up there with Arkham City. I mean, and unfortunately for me, I played Arkham Origins straight after playing Arkham City, so it kind of ruined the experience for me. But in retrospect, I can say Arkham Origins is it has the best story delivery of all the games, in my opinion.
Agreed. I mean, I'll say something controversial here. I think nothing has surpassed Arkham City yet.
No,
I'm yet to find a game in that style and genre that has done a better job than what Arkham City did.
It was perfect.
But and for the time it was mind-blowing. And this will give it away. I haven't actually played the Spider-Man game yet from 2018.
Oh, there you go.
Faulkner,
I've been
on that. You donut. What are you doing?
Well, I'm waiting to get Miles Morales in the combo pack where I get the PS5 version of Spider-Man. So because I hadn't gotten to it yet.
Make sure you play the Spider-Man remastered first, though, before you play Miles Morales.
Yes, definitely.
I guess I have to be asshole, because I think Arkham City is kind of overrated. I like it, but I don't think it deserves the praise that high of a praise that it gets. I think Asylum is leagues better.
Oh, what?
Asylum was groundbreaking, that thing. But and like Zuby, I played City, and then I played Asylum, then I played Origins. And I thought, because I did it out of sequence again, because it's like anybody, if you play Final Fantasy 7 first, it's better than 9. If you play 9 first, it's better than 7. So I can appreciate where you're coming from.
Actually, that's not true, because there's a secret about me I never told anybody, right? But I actually played Final Fantasy. I didn't play 7 when it first released, right? Because Final Fantasy 7, that's my favorite game ever, right? But I didn't play it when it first came out in 1997. I wanted to play it, but I didn't have a PlayStation at that time. I didn't get my PlayStation until I think it was like my birthday in '99, right? That's when my parents finally got me one. But it was right around the time 9 released, and my neighbor, he had 9, and I borrowed it. So 9 was actually the first one, but I didn't beat 9 right away. 9 was my first one because it was borrowed, right? But then I played 7, and I played the entirety of 7, and I was like, yo, this shit is ridiculous. So.
Yeah, no, I got it in. I've still got it here somewhere. Actually, I got a pre-platinum copy of Final Fantasy VII the year it released, and played it front to back, left to right, and sunk hundreds and hundreds of hours into it. And then Final Fantasy VIII came out, and I thought, oh, you beauty, it'll be like most sequels. It'll be similar. Got stuck into it, got about 5 hours into it, and went, oh, I can't stand this. This is rubbish.
Yo, me too, David. I'm the same way. Like, even as a child, because when you're a kid, damn near almost every game is good because you're experiencing them for the first time. So it's like a heightened experience when you're a child, right? But even as a child playing Final Fantasy VIII, and this was like after I played 7 and 9, I was like, I'm not really feeling this, right? And then I replayed it again last year, right, to see if I have like a newfound love for it or anything like that. And I beat the entire game, and I was like, nah, I'm not feeling this game at all, even though it's Akira's favorite Final Fantasy.
Yeah, no, sorry about that. But yeah, no, I suppose I'll wrap my bit up. So doing really well. If I can't get Final Fantasy 14 to get up and running, because I'll probably have the same problems that you've had, Wooly, because it's been so long and now I'm on a different console. I'll get in. I want to get in and finish the Yakuza series and then get the Judgment games done as well. And because the Yakuza games are so big, I think that'll see me out for most of the year. I'll put it on. I think I put it in the.
I need to get back to that.
Yeah, I've got 3, 4, 5, and 6 Like a Dragon to get finished, and then the 2 Judgment games. So, but I was just put it in the chat. Put it in the chat the other day. I plan out my games the year in advance so that because I get limited playing time, I know exactly what games I want to get through in my backlog and what new games are coming in and fit them in so that I actually get to play and finish games rather than, I don't know what I'm going to do here or there or whatnot. So, But yeah, no, that's me. I'm looking forward to February. I'm really looking forward to February. Not only are we going to have a bucket load of games coming out, which is ridiculously stacked for February and March, but we're also going to start seeing the financial numbers coming out for the December quarter, and I am very keen to see what Forza Horizon 5 and Halo did, because they're using those terms impact revenue and engagement and all that sort of stuff. I want to see if they translated it into actual bottom line dollars, because that'll be the telling point.
Yeah, 100%. Let's
player numbers versus sales.
Go on, sorry.
I was just saying, it's player numbers versus sales, really, isn't it? Do those high player numbers really equate to a profit, or as much as selling the game?
It's safe to say Final Fantasy 14 is the biggest commercial success of the year.
Crazy.
Yeah, and to be honest, one of the biggest commercial successes of all time. It's
beyond.
You know what's crazy, Willie? I was saying this. I was literally saying this throughout the whole year when a lot of people were coming out with that dumb narrative that PlayStation they don't have a big game for holidays, or they don't got a big exclusive game for the holidays. And I was telling people, and I was telling people, I was like, yo, Final Fantasy 14 is so crazy right now, right? Which is PlayStation and PC.
It makes everything else fail in comparison.
That Endwalker is going to be so huge. It's going to be bigger than Halo. But nobody wanted to listen to it. Nobody wanted to, listen to me. And then now look, they had to literally stop selling the game because of how crazy and packed and full the servers are.
It's crazy.
They're underestimating.
You'll have investors wanting to invest servers and help them with their servers for returns.
They're underestimating. They're underestimating the power of Yoshi P, the Naoki Yoshida.
Mr. Toolman 55, we'll get you finally, because we got to definitely get on to the main subject, as I want to respect the time of those who haven't got all night. Toolman, how are you, bro?
I'm doing good, Wooly. Thanks
so glad that you're here.
Well, thank you. This is my second time in as many weeks.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool to be on a podcast like Shaggy, like you were saying a minute ago. You're a little bit nervous the first time you get on the mic. It's just everybody's just a person. It's not a big deal, but it is in a way, because you're like, you don't want to get on here and sound stupid or anything.
I sound stupid every week, mate.
But no, I've been
when I
doing
listen
good.
back to myself talking.
I know, that's the way I was when I was listening to the podcast after it was done. I was like, do I really sound like that on the mic? Well, I don't sound like that in real life. I was asking my youngest son, I said, do I sound like that in real life? And he said, yeah, kind of. I was like, man. It's like, anyway. But no, I've been doing good. I've been finishing up the Frozen Wilds of Horizon Zero Dawn. I've got the base game all finished and everything, and working on that. And I don't know. I can't say enough for this game. I know you talked to, we talked a little bit about it last week about the environment, and I'm sure that that's going to be fixed, more for your liking, Wooly, about the,
I hope so.
how the environment interacts to Aloy herself. And I was kind of testing that out, and I was like, yeah, you're right. When you'd run through stuff, it was more the wind blowing it than it was an internet interaction between, her just separating the brush or whatever or anything like that. So yeah, I see that. But all in all, the game, I still think it's, personally, it's an awesome game, and just the variety that you have to do in there, and the biomes in there of all the different environments that you encounter in the machines.
Oh, it's definitely a looker. It's beautiful, beautiful game.
Mm-hmm. But I did for Christmas. I did get the game that everybody said was like a surprise hit. That they were kind of worried about it with the Avengers, but I did buy Guardians of the Galaxy. So I'm haven't started playing it yet, but
Amazing.
I'm looking forward to playing that.
That's my game of the year, hands down.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. No, that's awesome. Well, it's great that you're here, my dude, and thank you for being here. Now let's get the show on the road. Flipping it takes an eight panel members besides myself to get through, but it's definitely worth it, and just to be able to hear what all of you guys are playing, and to just welcome you all on the show. It's awesome, and I'm sure everybody will agree. This is probably the strongest panel we've had in a long time. It's amazing. It's amazing. So let's get on with the main topic at hand. There's two topics really. One subtopic to get out of the way, and I'd say to get out of the way because it's kind of big, but whilst Faulkner and Zuby are here, it's definitely useful to talk about as well. It's Sony. There's news that Sony has hit a 25 billion revenue milestone. I know it was touched. I think it was 21 billion last year. It was rumored to be, but now it's 25 billion. They're aiming for even more by the end of the fiscal year, but
I think it was 23 billion if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, now news has come out, I can, if you like, I can always get...
Yeah, I shared that too. Even though some people are saying that that's fake or not, or the numbers are not too accurate, because there were other companies missing from that list, like Valve and Square Enix was nowhere on the list as well, and so I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Can I?
Go ahead.
So I'm happy. I'm happy to jump in here before you get too far down the track for a couple of comments. Unfortunately, that picture that's doing that top 10 picture that's doing the rounds, that's from March 2021, so it's not current.
So why is it?
There's sites that are reporting it as it's current. That's why people are taking it.
David's right. It's not.
Sorry, Zuby. Somebody's wind is blowing the mic.
That's Akira. Akira, mute your mic.
Sorry, bro. Go on, Zuby.
I was just gonna add on. David's right.
Yeah.
So
it's old news.
It is. Unfortunately, it's part of the world we live in now, though, where something will happen. It'll go like this. It was a big issue back in March, April.
I remember
it was a talking point.
So I'm a bit confused because I do remember this already being touched upon.
Yeah, because it came out because Sony runs April to March with their annual year, whereas Microsoft go July to June, which is unusual for an American company, because usually American companies go January to December. So Sony came out, and this at the same time this came out, Sony came out and reported their annual piece, and then this picture came out and said, well, here's the top 10, Sony's absolutely smashing it. But it doesn't tell you what Tencent, Nintendo runs the same, they're April to March, I believe. I don't know what Tencent's financial year is because I can never keep up with them. I think
they're $13.9 billion last year.
But is that 13.9 billion for the whole financial year? And what is their financial year? Is it just up to the end of March? And same with Microsoft, they did 11.6 billion according to this picture. But is that the 9 months to March, or is that for the whole 12 months for the previous, April to March? So there's a lot of information.
There's other articles saying Xbox hit 14.9 billion.
There's a lot of information that needs to be supporting this that isn't there. It's just a picture that's put up from somewhere that some publication's done. But that was back in March, and now we're in December. And to fit a narrative, someone's pulled this thing out and gone, bang, there it is, and it's still on the firewalk again. So there's really a non-event story in this picture.
This is why I'm so glad that this podcast exists, because we get people on the panel who are able to set shit straight and have the information, the expertise, and the knowledge to set straight shit that either isn't true or is conflated, and get to the nitty gritty of the nuance behind an issue. So
So no, and I mean I didn't want to rain on you. I didn't want to rain on anyone's parade if they had a lot to lined up to talk about with this. But unfortunately, I thought
not at all.
Knock it on the head.
No.
This was a very small topic for the evening that I just wanted to touch on before we get to the main event.
Which is funny because I saw some sites reporting it. That's why, because I posted the pic and I was like, damn, look at Sony dominating again or whatever. Because I fell for that. It was updated, but it was funny. What was funny to me is I didn't go off of my gut instinct, because I was like, why would this why would these numbers be reported in December when it's usually reported after the fiscal year, right? Which is after March, as far as where everybody, but I was like, yeah, whatever, right? I didn't really think about it after that, but then some people started bringing it up. It's hey, no, they don't have these people on here.
Even though this is old news, it's still news in the sense that Sony did make this last year, right? And the only thing that I took from this, really, because I did suspect it was old, because we'd already, I could have sworn it was one of the biggest topics 6 to 9 months ago. I remember it clear as day. But even so, the entire gaming industry's total worth is valued at revenue is valued at 130 billion, a rough estimation. So if Sony is making 25 billion, does that mean that they are literally making almost a fifth of the industry?
Yeah, at that point they were. Them and Tencent. Well, yeah. Based on those numbers, yeah, they are.
That's freaking nuts.
It's pretty close.
That's nuts.
Well, yes, but you look at the projections that are going to come through. The people that project this stuff are pretty accurate. When we get to February and they start dropping out annual bits and pieces of how companies have done, February, March, April, in that period there, you'll find that the number that Sony is going to be closer to 30 billion or even more, but the total amount will be, close to 200 billion. So Sony's likely to lose their size in it.
But it's still super impressive.
It's still huge. I mean, if you are contributing more than 20% of any industry on your own as a company, you are the custodian of that industry. And it brings a huge amount of different roles and responsibilities when you're that big. If you're just a minnow following along and you just have to go along with whatever the industry turns take, well, then you're subject to whatever it is. If you're as that big, if Tencent and Sony combined decided to go, you know what, microtransactions are out. They're done, they're finished, they're gone. And they totally stopped doing it and found a way to replace that revenue, the whole industry would have it done in a matter of months.
Would follow, yeah.
Because
they are the market leader.
Went the other way, if they went the other way and they said, video games, the big AAAs cost a bucket load to make. We've got this. Okay, well, we're going to have in-house proprietary software engines that all of our first parties are now going to use, and we're basically going to use Unreal Engine 5 for everything, and we're going to put money into Epic to make sure it's got all this customization available. And then Tencent and Sony basically were one third-party owners in Epic to have access to Unreal Engine 5. Well, then they've cut their budgets in half for these AAA games. Well, what are the rest of them going to do? They're going to front up with hat in hand going, can we buy Unreal Engine 5 off you, please? Because we just can't compete. It's, they're that big a part of the market that when they make moves, they have to be careful that they don't kill the market.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, but, yeah, I just wanted to touch on that one. It's the numbers in March and April are going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to it because it's, I sound like a bit of a numbers geek here, but the thing is ridiculously healthy and very profitable. And there's a lot of the barrier to entry is actually getting a bit smaller now. And again, controversial point, with a lot of the development houses and publishers being bought up and consolidated and all that by, NetEase and Tencent.
Yeah.
Sony's got a couple, Microsoft has got a couple, but they haven't done much since they bought Bethesda. There's room for new, young, indie devs to get in the space because there's a market there that's now got no one filling it. If that makes any sense. Like, Sony's got their partnerships and they've all got their partnerships and they've all got their acquisitions. But, so for example, if 6 of us decided, you know what, bugger it, we're going to go out and we're going to make an indie game, we're going to use Unity, we're going to put it on PC and Nintendo or whatever it is, we're going to make it a isometric dungeon crawling, whatever it is. And as long as we make it play fun and look half decent, we can then go and pitch it to Sony and Steam and Epic and whoever else it is. We could pitch it and say we need 20 million or 30 million to make this game and bring it to market. And as long as we've got decent publication assistance from whoever we're getting to publish it, if we did it like as an independent devs through Square or some Enix or something like that, we could potentially have a game out and we ourselves have invested maybe a couple of grand. There's a market space there now for people to get into it. And the only way that's come about is because the bigger companies have started acquiring those smaller, medium-sized houses. So it's next year is looking like not just for game delivery, but next year
this is kind of nicely gearing us into the main subject, right, Faulkner?
You're getting
good at this, right? You're touching on basically there's a huge almost revolution in the gaming industry at the moment. There's Korea, China, and what's the other one? Akira, the other country, not Vietnam.
Taiwan.
Yeah, Taiwan. Countries entering into the gaming space as well, not just mobile gaming but console gaming as well. We've seen from the
Malaysia too.
Malaysia.
Right.
And we've seen from the 2020 fiscal year records that though mobile gaming is a huge moneymaker, it's not the be all and end all of the revenue. It's not like console gaming makes just 10% of gaming revenue, right? It's still a huge moneymaker for people. Sony, who primarily focuses on console, they have mobile gaming too, but they're killing it with console games and mostly with sales on their platform of third party and obviously with subscribers to PS Plus that are regular and consistent, or concurrent rather than just one-off. It's looking really, really good. And with that being said, I think the term "play has no limits" is taking on a whole new meaning now. And I wanted to kind of break that term down. When you think about, when PlayStation pitched the PS5, and this is the main subject we're getting into, they pitched it as the future of gaming, with the slogan "Play has no limits," and I don't think it's any coincidence that they coined the two with the PS5, because the future of gaming has no limits for PlayStation. Why is that? Well, from a technological standpoint, they have their fingers in many pots. I'd love one of you guys to sum up what that is. They also have, not just from a technological standpoint, they have mind share. So there's no limit to third party opportunities and what that presents, because they are the platform to be on. they have enough capital to fund these huge projects. And really, I'm trying to remember how I worded it. How I worded it to you guys in the Twitter room. It wasn't just technological, and it wasn't financial. There was something else that isn't limited for Sony, and I'm trying to remember what it is. Forgive me, bear with me. It's coming back to me, hopefully, shortly. Here we go.
Reputation.
Reputation, yeah, mindshare, a business model that works as well. Not just technological savvy and mindshare. Their business model is timeless, right, in its effectiveness. And VR, they've got their hands in VR too. They have support studios that offer the backbone of their first-party in-house game studios. So they've, when it comes to things like ports and quality control, they're not limited, if that makes sense. There's no limits for them at this moment in time, unless somebody can articulate a limit that PlayStation has, that maybe, say, Microsoft or Nintendo doesn't. I'd say Sony are the most free in what they're accomplishing. They've not got a power limit either with the hardware. The hardware is future proof. Not necessarily from a graphics standpoint, but certainly from a game design standpoint. So I wanted to pitch this to you guys. In what way to you guys does PlayStation have no limits, and what do you think the future is for PlayStation going forward? Are we going to see big changes in all these areas, in the technological, financial, support studio, mindshare, business model? Are we going to see huge revolutionary advancements going forward with PlayStation in the near future? Are they holding back from revealing big things to us? Is there a lot more in store that we're not aware of, whether it's games, hardware, services, etc.? I just wanted it just to be an all-round general discussion.
Well, it's kind of hard to say that because we don't know. Nobody in here knows exactly what's going on. But as far as what they're limited in, like I agree with a lot of things.
We don't know what's going on. Articulate.
No, because you asked the question. It's like, or do they have more surprises for us, right? I mean, to me, I was like, well, yeah. I mean, I would hope so, right? But we don't know what exactly they have in store for us in the future, right? But it's exciting, though. You know what I mean? That's what I meant by we don't know. But as far as where they're limited is, for me, is they're limited in the handheld space. They're limited in their home country in Japan, because from the recent stock supplies that Japan has been getting, it's not looking too good. And for the longest I was in denial. I was like, nah, PlayStation, they're still gonna focus on Japan as well, whatever. But I don't know, for some reason, and this because they don't really have any too compelling softwares for the Japanese audience, like Final Fantasy is not out yet, as far as 16 and stuff like that. But it's because, and this is something that I wanted to ask David, right? And I'm not getting off topic here, right? Because this has to do with like PlayStation and all that stuff, right? Ever since like Herman got in and Jim Ryan got in, they've been doing a lot of studio acquisitions. They did like 5 this year, I think, right? But like all of them are like European studios, right? The majority of them, right? I think there was like, there's one from like Canada or some shit like that. I don't know, but I know like a lot of them are European studios and whatever, right? Why do you think they're not investing in like the Japanese or the Asian studios? It's like it seems like all of their studios that they're investing in has been just like Western studios, and I'm okay with that because I love a lot of the Western games that come from PlayStation, like the Naughty Dogs and the Santa Monicas and stuff like that. But me growing up as a huge PlayStation fan, the games that made the biggest impact for me growing up as a PlayStation fan that PlayStation provided was a lot from the Japanese developers and stuff like that. But it seems like now it's like they don't seem like, even though at the beginning of this year they said that no, Japan is still a big deal for them. But it's like they're investing in so many other things. You know, at least from my perspective on the outside looking in, we don't know all the inner workings of what's really going on, or what they're planning with. But it's like, yo, when okay, y'all buying this studio from Europe, that studio from London, this studio from the UK, that studio from America. When are you gonna buy a studio? Another studio from Japan to create that uniqueness that from that country provides when it comes to gaming. What do you think about that? That, because to me that's where they're limited in right now. In my opinion.
It's a good point.
I can understand where you see it, how you see that, and the background from where that's coming from, and we don't get. And Akira can chime in here and tell me if I'm completely off topic because he lives there. I don't see a lot of reports from Japan or from Japanese origin publication where they've been anything super critical of, like, Sony just hasn't done this fast enough. In Western countries, if someone says we're looking at acquiring that business, if they haven't done it inside a month, then they failed. Whereas Japan does things a bit slower in their business sense. Sony invests and PlayStation invests in individuals. It invests in the people rather than in the company or in the business. So there's a lot of relationship building, and some of the stuff can take its time. I'm still hearing, Sony's PlayStation's got a list of 20 to 25 development studios and potentially 3 publishers, even though the publishers are a bit of a left of field one. We've spoken about that before, but they've got 20, 25 development houses that are on a list that we haven't heard about yet. And I've seen some of the names on that list, and I can't discuss them, but
could you repeat that last bit, Dave, that you just said then? Sony of what?
They've got 20 to 25 development companies, development houses that they've got on a list that they're actively talking to about acquiring. And I've seen some of the names on that list, but I'm not at liberty to discuss them in this setting. It's very private information. Some of the ones that I've seen are a decent size. A lot of them are in Japan, South Korea, Malaysia, Vietnam, in that area.
Wow.
But they're not in a hurry. They're not in a hurry to get them because, one, Microsoft, they're not interested in being sold to Microsoft. Tencent and NetEase can't get at them because of the local laws. Because in Japan, if a foreign country wants, same as in Australia, if a foreign country wants to buy a company that's domiciled in Japan, they have to get approval from the government, federal governments. And if the federal government won't sign off on it, which the Japanese government will never allow pretty much never allow a Chinese company to buy a Japanese company, in the current climate, it just won't happen. So Sony's got no rush. But we've spoken about it on Twitter and chatted about it. And Akira, again, chime in here, mate, if I'm out of line here, but Arc Systems, I can't remember who the other two from South Korea were. There's Life of P. Who was that?
Neo is.
Yeah, that's it. And there's another couple of South Korean ones that are. There's games coming down the pipeline for PlayStation, and they've already proven that they'll do it.
Bloody
the game
Dave,
will launch.
You've just absolutely blown my mind there, the way that you've articulated this. So let me just repeat back in layman's terms, right? The narrative that PlayStation are forsaking Japanese studio because they're not buying them is kind of a misplaced concern, because there are you've seen with your own eyes, but you're not allowed to disclose the information. You've seen a lot of development projects that Sony have in the pipeline that have not been announced, most of which are from South Korea, Japan, and places such as that. And these development projects are games, and they're working hand in hand with these Japanese and Korean developers to create these projects, but they're not in any rush to buy these studios, because why buy them when they already are in partnership with them? There's no rush, especially when laws are in place to protect them from being purchased by companies outside of that native country.
Yes.
Exactly.
So,
Fantastic.
this is the
That's
thing
amazing news.
about PS5, right? This is the thing, man. There was this article, created about very, very small stocks of PS5, and what I said about this is simple. I said, I cannot fully give a proper judgment because because we just have a shortage right now. Now, the conversation would be different if there's no shortage and we're still getting the same amount of stocks, the same small ass amount of stocks, basically, right? If it would be the same despite of having no shortage, then that would be, that would be worth talking about. Now, all right, it kind of looks like PlayStation's not prioritizing Japan anymore. It comes to our consoles, and about there is a difference between Japanese consumers and Japanese developers, right? This is the thing. It's true that Nintendo being dominant in Japan is one of the main reasons why a lot of Japanese developers would be attracted to the idea of putting their games in the Switch, because it's just gonna sell a lot in Japan, right? I mentioned this before. I actually voiced this concern before in only in private, because I don't want to bring this to space because I don't know how to properly say it. But now I'm gonna try. So what I said is this: I'm not very fond of Nintendo dominating everything in Japan, to be honest, because they have a weak hardware. Now, what that means is that if a lot of Japanese developers will be accustomed to the Switch, then in a way that's hindering progress.
Priorities
for
different.
Japanese games.
Yeah.
So I said this before, where I made this observation that so far I can only see Square Enix and Capcom case-to-case basis is Bandai Namco. Sega is not pushing any more properly, to be honest. They're kind of on a standstill as well. That although we will find out with the new games that are coming up next year if they're going to move on to the next phase. But they have the potential, but they're not going for it like Capcom's Square Enix yet. What was the other one? Side Games is the one kind of joining the party of Japanese developers trying to push progress. Side Games used to be a mobile developer with, they got like over 200, 300 developers 3 years ago, and they started hiring like, crazy, and then now they're over 2,000 developers, almost Square Enix level of, how big their company is now.
Huge. They're working on Project Awakening, which is a game that I've had my eyes on for years, and I really hope it's still going to release.
Side Games looks like they want to enter the AAA space. They made a new engine for Project Awakening. They got,
they seem to
Grand
be
Blue Fantasy.
in a very similar league to Crimson Desert devs.
Grand Blue Fantasy Railink is what do you call this? Their new trailer looks like they improved compared to the old demos. It looks like its own way of beauty or art. Like it's kind of like Tales of Arise, but also different. But it's still pretty to look at. The game looks very functional from what I've seen. We're gonna find out when we get to play the game. They're gonna push online co-op for a JRPG like that. I'm very excited, to be honest, to try that out. Play with the bros. But yeah, that's the thing. Project Awakening. We saw the tech demo that they did, so they are pushing. Progress. Like I said, progress, right? So these are only a few developers that I named from Japan that are still trying. Right, a lot of a lot of Japanese developers don't anymore. For example, those developers that are kind of stuck with the Switch because that's kind of like where the money goes, right? Where the money flows. Of course, budget and scale also is a let's say what it calls is also a factor to consider. However, it's also really true that the Nintendo being dominant, that a lot more Japanese developers get more and more attracted to make games, for them instead of the consoles like
of the
Xbox or
PlayStation. Yeah, because it was a PlayStation is because I know there was the Jody, right? Akira, she did a breakdown of like that article that came out with like the PS5 sales in Japan and the breakdown with the software sales.
I read
and the
it as
software
well.
sales are extremely low compared to the actual hardware sales because of all the scalpers that's going on over there.
Yeah, the scalpers. Yeah,
and so and that's the thing that like to me is like I don't mind these games coming to the Switch. Like I love my Switch, but at the same time, it's like, bro, it's like Nintendo needs to move on from this hardware.
Don't want to get left behind.
We need a Switch 2 for better resolution. We need achievement system or whatever. And so what I'm worried because since the Japanese has now shifted like 99% towards like mobile and the Switch and stuff like that, right? That if the PS5 is not doing so well, that these Japanese developers started shifting their development focus to the Switch, right? Which I wouldn't mind if the Switch was a way more powerful hardware, but because it's not, then we'll see the limited and stuff like that.
So my main concern about this is simple. So I made a statement before where I said Japanese developers used to lead the industry when it comes to progress. They used to lead, like they always come up with the first thing of progress, right? They always come up with the first tech demos that pushes progress in video games, right? It's always has been like, it's kind of like the Japanese developers always kind of lead that. But then ever since the Switch became dominant, it's kind of taken a step back in a quantity. And I don't mean all of them, but quantity wise, kind of took a step back from leading, and Western developers are amazing. They're all amazing. And that's the thing, man. Because of if the Switch becomes more dominant, again, more Japanese developers get so accustomed to developing for this hardware, they can get left behind in progress. And
at the end of the day, I don't want us to go too far off topic here because Japan is a whole. No, what you've said is brilliant, but Japan in itself is a whole subject to talk about because, I understand completely your concerns, Akira, about the fact that Japan have kind of become more accustomed now to primarily developing for weak hardware. That it would be amazing if a very powerful system had more mind share in Japan, because that would make devs more, I guess you could say, more ambitious in technical in technical areas.
Now back to the topic. The way to go back to the topic is simple. Again, I'm just waiting what Sony plans to do with the man that they hired, Kishiro Arata. He is the only one I am waiting for. Like, to be honest, he didn't even show his face anywhere, representing PlayStation yet, right?
Somebody break that down. Who is that?
That was David. The Phil Spencer. Phil Spencer comparison.
Yeah, he is to Japanese gaming what Phil Spencer is to Xbox.
Yeah, that's
crazy. So basically, that's the reason why I am keeping my eye on Kishiro Arata. Because this is the thing, man. As much as a lot of these complaints and concerns exist, at the same time, I don't completely lose faith in it, because I am remembering Kishiro Arata's with PlayStation. There's gotta be something.
Bokeh Studio. Is it Bokeh? Bokeh Studio?
Bokeh, yeah, Bokeh.
Yeah,
Bokeh. They're a Japanese horror studio, right? And they are likely going to be having partnerships with Sony. I think it's going to be quite clear that Sony.
It's possible. I mean, like I said,
big
Shuei
names.
Yoshida is always there whenever they have some kind of announcement.
Exactly.
So,
So
yeah.
there are easily. I think the concerns about Japan are valid because things have been quiet since the PS3 era. But there are things developing that I think Akira and David Faulkner have very articulate, very well kind of pointed out.
Yeah.
That
I'm just
there
gonna
are
say,
things going on behind the scenes.
And the thing is like, I don't think this was actually out of topic because the topic was about PlayStation having no limits, and then you asked, where do you think that they're limited on, and so that's why I brought it up. In Japan, in Japan or Japanese developers, like with that and PlayStation goes hand in hand because that's how PlayStation originated. That's how they started it. So that's a big part of their history and legacy and stuff like that. Then we can get on to the other stuff.
I also wanna say, right, this is the thing, and it might be sad reality, but it is our reality, right? Nowadays, visuals do count for a game. It just do. It's just the truth.
Put it this way,
it needs to be accepted.
I've got IS 8. I bought it, right? IS 8.
IS 8. Oh, nice.
Yeah. I love it.
I turned it off after 10 minutes. I was ice skating across the ground.
I get it.
And
I get it.
What's going on? I just couldn't enjoy it because visuals are
I get it.
And I know that
so there then.
Shallow,
so what I want to say, it's not really shallow because I said there might be people like me and Chris that can, for example, maybe adapt easily to it, but the majority of people are just the majority of people are just accustomed.
It's like having a girlfriend you're not attracted to. You know, most people, some people can see past
something
it.
Like that.
But you got, for me, that's important in a relationship. You know, you gotta have that attraction.
So there's a thing. So there is this. Majority is now accustomed to visuals. This is why Tales of Arise made bank, because even if it's not, the most visually impressive thing, it's still so pretty to look at, for its art style or art direction.
Jonathan, I don't understand the question, bro. I wonder why Sony is keeping a lot of silence to Kichiro Urata. I don't understand what you mean, keeping a lot of silence to
I can get into that. Sorry, who was it?
He just got hired, so
yeah. Well, listen, we can get back to this in a bit, but there's panel members that will have to go soon, and I want them to be able to. I want them to be able to kind of have a voice before.
I'm about to.
Before they go.
I'm about to finish. So basically, again, Tales of Arise made bank, and 7 Remake, man. Like, if that game, as much as how amazing it played, that game didn't actually that visually amazing as well. It won't be as successful as it is right now, despite of having an existing fan base. It's just a trip because there's so many newcomers in the 7, fan base that really got attracted by the visuals alone as well. Mm-hmm. And if East either looked like Tales of Arise or this, it would have been way more successful than it is right now. It's just the truth. It's reality.
Visuals naturally evolved as gaming progressed, and if visuals do not progress in a series, it to me it screams laziness. And I know that sounds
the only
sound crude, but
sorry,
but
the only way to get around it is that if it's again pretty, for example. Persona 5 has its own art style, and it's pretty to look at.
Art style is different, right?
Yeah.
And we
but that's it. Yeah. Sorry, I'm gonna let the others.
No, it's all good. So I wanted to hear what Zuby and Wilhelm have to say about what excites, what is PlayStation doing, or what do they think is, I guess, potentially around the corner for PlayStation that excites them the most. And I wanted to hear what Zuby has to say and then Wilhelm on this, if possible.
I'll let Zuby first, because the take I wanted to give is not in that particular realm.
Oh yeah, of course, mate. I'd love to hear it afterwards. Zuby, if there's anything you want to add about what's been discussed so far, or if you want to answer that, what does PlayStation having no limits mean to you? And what excites you the most? Would love to hear it, brother.
Yeah, I think it's quite big. Like you saw Eric Lampel, he's the marketing officer for PlayStation. Yeah, he basically said we don't want any boundaries left like at PlayStation. They want to explore everything. That's what I think it means to Sony. So what I think it is, in personally, like you can see where Sony is branching out, like their research and development. They're number one in the world in terms of like all the companies. If you put it together, like their R&D departments are so big. They spend lots of their revenue on R&D. So as you can see, like some of the job listings I post, there's quite a lot on there's quite a lot of like research and development into head mounting displays, so like virtual reality. There was a video Sony put up on recently on their channel, and that was like virtual reality. So that's I think that's going to be very big for Sony in going forward as a whole. So that's like they
aren't they now implementing or looking into OLED technology?
Yeah, so they basically founded the technology. So yeah, there's so much like they're doing there as well. Like some of the like OLED technology, they've moved to their sensors. So like that technology is incorporated into the sensor, and they're so advanced. Like they're leading that department. But that said, those sensors are going to be used in the PlayStation VR headset, the new one. So there's a lot as well, like the cloud gaming. I think I won't talk a lot about it, but that's where they're like accelerating.
Love you to echo what you said on the first time that you guested about specifically about that.
Yes,
they've got an insane infrastructure in place that is going under everybody's radar, right?
Yeah, it's like I think the most capital that's getting spended in Sony right now is that cloud gaming. So whether you like it or not, it's gonna happen, and you're gonna see it from Sony. That's 100% gonna happen. Whether it comes next year or not, it's gonna happen. So yeah, basically they're just investing so much money and resources, people. There's brand new teams getting founded. So Sony have got like a future technology group in the US. I think they've got like multiple teams there. One's in Los Angeles, one's in San Diego, where they do this research and development. So a lot of like research R&D is going into that. The actual like server blades that are gonna have this cloud server on it, and the technology that's going into it is crazy. It's like bleeding edge. So those are the two areas where I see Sony going right now. But players no limits to me. Like that is PlayStation 5 to me. What is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's exciting. You mentioned that with the cloud, they've got like they're using PS3 blades. Is that what you mentioned? Like in the, I can't remember. They've basically got dozens and dozens and dozens of PS3 blades.
Yeah, so basically it would you put multiple like systems in one blade. I'm not sure if it's PS3 or not, but yeah, it will be like multiple systems in one blade, and so yeah, I think what I said was So basically, they're adding, I think it's like 25 gigabytes per rack is like the NVMe. So basically, you make one system, you put 2 GPUs inside it, and then on top of that, you have this NVMe SSD that's like supplying the data so fast, rapidly, and it's like 25 gigabytes per second.
That's insane.
That's how. So
it's nuts.
The amount of data that's getting processed is unbelievable.
I mean, this is all painting a picture, right? Because the whole point of this was to kind of focus on or bring attention to the fact that PlayStation have their fingers in every pie possible. I don't think there's a single pie that they've not got the fingers in, right? Whereas, and we're not really, but it's so understated because they're doing it so quietly, and so behind the scenes. It takes people like you, Zuby, and you, David, to tell us, because they're not shouting it out through YouTube personalities and through I guess you could say figureheads tweeting out all this information.
Just to add on, like the hirings they're having, I would say at least 40 to 50% are for network engineers.
What impact do you think all of this? You mentioned the VR overhauls, and also with cloud infrastructure. What do you think the impact will be in gaming experiences? How they'll change?
It's
a big question, isn't it? Sorry.
I don't think anyone on this panel is going to be able to answer that question, because we can't imagine the kind of technology these guys are brewing up. And it's I say that
big. It's really that big, is it?
How can we even imagine what does a VR headset with 8K resolution on each eye that can track your eye movement? Like, what does that look like? We can't even conceive what this shit's going to look like. And as Zuby said, they're hiring left, right, and center. They've got an army of people there already, and they're hiring a second army to get stuck into it even more. They've got the production line knowledge within Sony, because remember, Sony is a home consumer hardware manufacturing company. That's what they do. PlayStation is a branch off for software development, and has been a branch off since it started. But they're experts in hardware manufacturing for home entertainment and visual stuff. Like, what these guys are doing and the amount of money that they're pouring into it, I don't think we have. I think in our wildest dreams we might get close, but it's going to be very difficult. They bring this stuff to market, and we'll be looking at 5 years' time. We could be looking at what the PS5 was doing as groundbreaking, cutting edge, could be like we look at a PS1 now. Yeah, it's phenomenal. I just want to chime in on one point that Zuby was making about their research and development wings. Japan's got a really cool R&D tax credit set up within the country. The amount of a lot of Japanese companies do this. They pour everything into their R&D because they get 45 to 50% of it back as a tax credit, and so their R&D arms are basically self-funding because of how they run them. It's really cool. Really cool. America's got a very different system. You basically have to ask for grants every year to help with your R&D, whereas in Japan, once you've got the nod to be an R&D branch, it's there permanently. Wow. So you can just tear on and do it. Australia's got something very similar. Australia's got a really cool one and I don't know why a lot of companies don't come to Australia to do it. If you're given as an R&D company in Australia, and Ford do it actually down here, you get 47.5% tax credit, but it's actually paid back in cash. So if you don't have a tax liability, the federal government down here will give you the money back in cash. So that's Ford, the global company Ford, they have their a huge R&D set up in Melbourne, plus a lot of their international design is set up in Melbourne. They got about 15,000 people working here. Every year, they're getting hundreds of millions of dollars back from the federal government because it's all expenditure, but there's no income in the country for them. So, yeah, come on, Sony, come down here so I can get a job.
Big facts, and that's crazy. Yeah. What did you want to touch on, Will? You had a point you wanted to make.
Yeah, I thought you were just wanted me to give out my thoughts. What will be in the future or whatever.
Yeah, go for it. Would love to hear it.
In general, I just what I wanted to touch upon was also the play has no limit thing, and what play has no limits mean to me personally, and how I personally view it, and the word I always kind of think about, and the word I always connected to when I always hear that slogan is possibility. And
Is what?
to explain is possibility. Possibility.
Yeah. You sound like Herman Hulst right now.
And to explain it, and I hope this will make sense, and I hope I'm able to do that without any hiccups, is recently we've had an action platformer with Ratchet and Clank. We've had an high-octane, visually dazzling third-person roguelike FPS with Returnal, and we've also had Death Stranding and Demon Souls, which are their entirely own genres. And all these games offer something unique. They offer something that makes them their own. They have something where you can point at it and confidently and clearly say that it's that thing.
Yeah.
Visually, for example, there are all titles that visually offer something in terms of mechanic and technology. Like every time I see like a video, or every time I drop into social media, I always see people admiring a certain game's visual, admiring something about a certain game, and those games are always like mostly happen to be PlayStation games. They always admire them for many, for their many aspects, would it be visually or gameplay wise. Like years later, I even see people that can't help but to admire the beautiful aesthetic and scenery of Ghost of Tsushima. I still see people admiring the technology behind Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, with the time traveling thing and the portals and all that. And PlayStation always seemed to want to expand upon those things. They always want to see what kind of mechanics they can bring, what kind of new things they can introduce, and how they're going to make the game stand out visually or artistically. Like, even Horizon Zero Forbidden West, which is a cross-play title, looks phenomenal. Like, incredibly phenomenal. Like, you wouldn't even believe that it's and cross-gen title, and just imagine what they could be able to pull off if that was a PS5 exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine.
Or if they'd had 3 or 4 years with the console, later
exactly,
on in the generation.
Exactly. And a reason for that would be also that PlayStation has a more intimate relationship with their developers than other companies do. You see, like it's also something that we've touched upon like a few episodes ago. How the kind of relationship Sony have with all these people. It's like a very Japanese thing they have, and it's a Japanese value that I just can't help but to admire. It's really it's just admirable, and it's very, very great and healthy. And in terms of technology, visually, I think they'll just continue to knock it out of the park, and I think they continue to blow our minds, because it's basically what they've been doing even at the end of the PS4's life cycle, and even with the begin of the PS5's life cycle, and I think they'll just outdo themselves over and over and over again.
Agreed, man. You're preaching. Yeah, you're preaching my tune, and I fully agree with everything that you've said. I think what excites me is what David touched on and Zuby touched on, and how it'll all kind of translate into these gameplay experiences that will be curated for us in 2 to 3 years' time down the line. There's a level of ambition to Sony that I think is going very understated in the gaming space. And again, Jonathan in the chat bringing out a lot have been pointing at Herman Holst and Jin, calling them liars for about Japanese gaming, because Herman said that Japanese are very important to them and Japanese devs. But I think Dave kind of covered that when he said there are projects in the works, and that's kind of a no-brainer. That's a given. Look at Square Enix; they're very hand in hand with Sony. But there's more. There's more than just that, and there's going to be a lot of. I see a lot of Japanese devs being having partnerships with Sony, and not necessarily being bought. But I think what people are wanting is acquisitions. But I don't understand why. I don't understand why acquisitions is so important.
Yeah, I'm happy to re-explain that for the people in the chat if you think it's needed.
Yeah,
but
go for it. I mean, go for it, my dude.
Sony's got, so PlayStation, it's got partnerships with developers. Let's call them Asian developers, all right? Because it's not just Japan. There's other countries involved here. Mm-hmm. And they've got a modus operandi, which we've seen in the past with every acquisition that they've done, just about. They've got games, they're in partnerships, which means that without having to pay all this money to buy all this stuff, PlayStation invests an amount of money for a game to be made. The developers get to show Sony, PlayStation what they're capable of doing. So there's a relationship being built there beyond just the business relationship. So the production staff at PlayStation are getting involved with these other companies, bosses and development staff and that, and saying, right, well, we're going to build a relationship. We've done it with Bluepoint, we've done it with Firewalk, we've done it with heaps of other ones. We'll build this, invest in this relationship, get the game to market. The game goes well, then you can expect an acquisition to occur afterwards. And Jim Ryan and Helmut Huss have said this. They are investing in partnerships, they're investing in relationships, they're investing in the individuals.
It makes sense.
Once they get a game, once they got the game to market, that's the litmus test. If the game comes to market and the game does decently, well, let's talk acquisition. Do you want to become part of PlayStation Studios? And at this point in time, if you got that offer, you'd be nuts to say no, because there's no one else in the market that is producing the quality across the board as to what PlayStation's producing. And you can argue the fact of, and people do argue the fact with me, they say, oh, but Obsidian's going to do this, and Sega's doing that for the Switch. Oh, but has anything come out yet? You're talking about down the line. Can you put something in front of me that will outdo the production value of Ratchet and Clank or Ghost of Tsushima or any of those sort of... I mean, you guys have been playing DNF Dual Beta. That thing isn't even finished and it looks amazing. You imagine what happens when that game drops and it goes gangbusters and it does an excellent job in the sales. It's a fighting game, and all of a sudden it shows up at Evo, and then you can just about guarantee there'll be an acquisition. Arc Systems will, you know, but that's what they've done.
Look at Animax. Animax is now getting involved in the gaming space as well, and Animax is owned by Sony. So
Aniplex. You talking about Aniplex?
Sorry, Aniplex. Animax. Oh, what an idiot I am.
So, but and that's like to the people in the chat who say, "Oh, it's garbage. There needs to be acquisition." I was like, no, the way that PlayStation does this, and they've not. It wasn't Jim Ryan who started this way of doing it. This was Sean Layton's, and even his predecessor. Mm-hmm. They invest in the relationship. They see that it's got quality to come down the pipe, and they have canned a heap of things in quietly, canned a heap of stuff. That's why they don't announce everything. Because if they announce everything and it gets halfway down the line and it becomes garbage and they can't get it to market and they cut the relationship off because whatever reason, then all of a sudden you'd see more than half the time games don't make it because they've just fall into a mess and they just pull the plug on the funding because it'll never make it.
What would be the intelligence behind buying a studio before they've even proven to have a symbiotically beneficial, a mutually beneficial relationship with Sony? There is none, because it's a gamble. It's a gamble, a bit like Bethesda was a gamble to Xbox, because yes, Bethesda made Oblivion and Morrowind that were exclusives to 360, but I mean, I'm talking about all the other studios that like Machine Gun Games and all these other studios that are under that branch, they bought 9 studios, most of which haven't ever had a history with Xbox, an exclusive history with Xbox. So what's left is baggage, right? What's left is baggage,
Exactly.
and if you're gonna buy a studio with no proof that studio is going to work well under your leadership, if you have that's probably another reason why Xbox has let Bethesda do their own thing, because these studios won't probably handle other leadership very well, because it's Todd Howard is all they've known, and so
and everybody's got their different style. And same with, notice how PlayStation's, I call them their production house leadership. Mm-hmm. Notice how PlayStation do not rotate through their leaders hardly ever. They get into that production house, and they are there.
Stay there.
And they are there, and their names are on the credits of every bloody game that's a PlayStation touched thing. Their name, and they're never at the top. They're right down the bottom, right before the credits finish rolling. Special thanks to such and such from PlayStation Studios. And there'll be about a dozen of them. They're the same names all the time. And if you listen to the conversation that David Jaffe had with, I think it was Gavin. Can't remember his first name now, but the guys that made Days Gone. When Scott.
Garvin.
I think it's Scott. Garvin, sorry. Yeah. Guy from PlayStation came in, sat down, played the first bit. Days Gone, played this vertical slice that they did. Played it for about 10 minutes and then sat the controller down and just brutally said, this is good, this is good, this is good, this is crap, this is crap, this is taking too long. Make this shorter, make this longer, make this better. And that's the kind of input you need to get from your production leadership. None of this, just make whatever you feel like making, and whatever you bring to market will do. Like, the PlayStation production guys are so on point because they're in tune with what the market wants, and just, yeah. But anyway, to talk about the acquisitions point, for the guys in the chat, I accept that you might want to see bang, 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 we want acquisitions. PlayStation picked up 8 this year so far. Can you list off the 8 that they've done? They've done 8. I can give you about 4 names because they do it so quietly. But that'll be next year when these games start dropping out, and a lot of these games coming next year for these names that are in this list, those games are coming next year. I wouldn't be surprised if it's assumed within the market at the moment that when these games drop very shortly after, within 6 months, there'll be an acquisition of that company if the game does decently. Mm-hmm. So don't be, but that's Asia. Western countries totally different. If you are singled out for an acquisition, it's got to happen quickly because your competitor will buy them just so you can't.
That's a good point.
I mean, that's just what I admire. It just feels a lot more, personal. When Sony and PlayStation announced their acquisition of Insomniac, people were hyped. Because it's like a kind of relationship, the player itself experienced with all of these years. Because Insomniac been with Sony for so long. They've made Spyro the Dragon, Ratchet and Clank, and after all these years, seeing them, making it official was just kind of heartwarming. While with Xbox, when they announced their acquisition of Bethesda, it kind of felt like, when your drunk uncle brought in a hooker and said, I love her. She's the woman of my dreams.
I'll make one more comment and then I'll shut up for a while because there's a few other people that I'd really want to hear from. When Microsoft announced that they bought Bethesda, and love me or hate me for this, I thought it was a good fit.
Yeah,
I really did, because Bethesda was struggling and they needed a cash injection, and they'd lost, genuinely, all their studios had completely lost their any artistic creativity direction. Doom Eternal was almost exactly the same as Doom 2016.
Amazing game. It was
don't get me wrong.
It was more a media sweetheart, but it wasn't exactly pushing anything different or fresh.
It's the same shit, different day. Basically, just change the color on this and change the music on that, and it's done. But still a good game. And how many different times it was funny, even in the Game Awards, old mate made the joke about Skyrim. We're running out of places to port Skyrim to. What else does Bethesda as a whole It had struggled with their Fallout series. It had struggled with a lot of their other series. Arcane Studios.
Wolfenstein doesn't hit like it used to.
No, it doesn't. And in today's current environment, how geez, you'd be really risky doing another Wolfenstein game because you're going to upset so many. And that's a shame. It's a real shame because Wolfenstein was when it came out, it was a groundbreaking, cutting edge game that everybody had to play. And even though it's the first person, my personal perspective is a lot of the 2D then first person shooters all look the same, but Wolfenstein had something different and it made it, I've got to play that game. The issue with Bethesda was they'd fallen into a hole and they had no way of getting out of it. Sony showed up to Arcane, and I can't remember who the other one was that's doing Ghostwire Tokyo, and said, you've pitched it to us. We'll invest some money in it, and we'll give you some production assistance to you guys to get something out as long as we get to have it as an exclusive for X amount of time. And Deathloop's not my cup of tea, but it's different. It's unique. It's got a good art style. It's got a decent story. It's fun gameplay from this, few snippets that I've played. It's not my cup of tea, but I can see that it would be fun for a certain part of the market. Ghostwire Tokyo looks pretty cool, but it'll be something similar. It'll appeal to a certain type of the market, but it's not going to be a console selling game. But it didn't have to be. It's a AA level filling game. But when Xbox bought Bethesda, without those two titles into it, Xbox bought something that fitted in with their persona, right? Mm-hmm. And they paid a shitload of money for it, and they've pretty much got a back catalogue and no new games coming out of it yet. They're down the track. But they really need to just be mindful that, so people need to be mindful that purchase fitted.
So Old Man Logan in the chat, are we going to say the same about God of War Ragnarok then? Well, actually, shock horror, no. For certainly not me, because I think it's a very different situation. Because what you're doing is you're conflating games without strong narrative direction, like Doom Eternal, that's primary focus is on the gameplay only, and a very, very, very weak narrative element to the game. So there isn't much of a difference between the first and the second with a game that does. God of War Ragnarok's not only got completely overhauled visuals, and is far more a step above God of War 2018 than, say, Doom Eternal was over Doom. Both are beautiful looking games, but very similar aesthetic. It's just slightly bigger in scale, I would imagine. Doom Eternal is, and I love Doom Eternal. It's one of my favourite games of last year. Don't get me wrong. I've loved every bit that I've played of it. But God of War Ragnarok's going to have a story that's based on after the events of the first. That's going to keep players very, very much engaged. That story is just an article released today, in fact, or yesterday, about God of War Ragnarok is exceedingly ambitious in terms of the dynamic between Loki and Kratos, and the struggle that Loki has, and furthermore the consequential battles that are going to unfold with like Surtur and all the other events of Ragnarok that are about to go down. So, I'd say it's a different story between Ragnarok and Doom Eternal, and also it's different from saying Wolfenstein doesn't hit like it used to. Well, it doesn't. That's not a slate on the game. It just first-person shooters don't seem to be as popular anymore, in my opinion, in terms of unless it's multiplayer. Single-player first-person shooters don't seem to hit like they used to. Is it just me?
Yeah.
It seems like those kind of games are like more faded into the indie scene, because like in the indie scene they're like those retro revival. There's like a retro revival thing in the indies going on with games like Dusk, Maximum Action, and all those games. They're like spiritual successors to the old 90s FPS genre. To games like Doom, Quake, and Hexen. In the indies, they're quite popular, but like in the AAA market, they're kind of a dying art form.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Salty says, shout out to Salty in the chat, Doom Eternal was awesome, lol, two totally different games. Well, that's exactly my point, and that's why I was saying you can't compare the two. An old man was saying, well, if you're going to say that Doom Eternal was more of the same and creatively dry, then say the same for God of War Ragnarok. And I'm saying, well, actually, no, because God of War Ragnarok has a completely different story, and the story of which is a huge part of the game. So its creative direction isn't more of the same. It's
that's not to say anything bad against, you know, Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, effectively the same game, just a different soundtrack and different skin colors.
Yeah.
That's not to say it's a bad game.
No, it's amazing.
I mean, how much fun is it running around blasting monsters with these superpowered guns and the hook and the music, the soundtrack? I mean, if you've had a really shitty day at work and you just want to destroy stuff and you're not interested in carrying on through a story, it's the best thing to put on. It's just chuck on one of those things, load up your big ass gun, and just go to town. It's a fun game. Don't get me wrong, but you know, and I agree with you. It's different horses for courses. But anyway, sorry, I'm slightly sidetracked when I was responding to that comment. But yeah, I'm going to shut up for a while because I want to hear some other people talk about what they're thinking is coming. What they're thinking is coming.
Family man, Shaco, Toolman. Speak, preach, talk to us.
To be honest, like there's no point in going over what everyone's talked about, really.
Yeah.
Because I agree with mostly what's been said. What I think it's going to lead to is games. It's just going to be games. It's where Sony's bread and butter is. Everything that they're concentrating on really leads back to the games. They're expanding their teams. They're building their services out. Their visibility, stuff like that. They're trying new genres. They've got support teams in the background. I think they're really gearing up to have a real push for quality. I think they want to be seen as the gaming company, as in, you know, our games are the games to play.
Yeah, big facts. Big facts, bro.
But yeah, that's how I feel. That's what I think it's
the variety has no limits. You know,
exactly.
The variety has no. See, this is what this is kind of. I know I was vague and I didn't present the question very well, and that's a bad reflection on me as a poor host. But what does play has no limits mean to you? And that's kind of the personal question that I want everyone here to kind of think about and feel if they can answer. Like, what does that mean to you? And you know what you just hit on is an amazing point, family man. Is that, you know, the variety. I mean, has it gone under everybody's radar? It's certainly gone under mine, and I'm going to be getting the game now, 100%. But they released a Metroidvania. Sony released a Metroidvania exclusive with Fist, a criminally overlooked game that is praised so highly by those who have played it.
Did anyone see the PlayStation role for, you know, Players No Limits for China?
No.
Did you see the characters in that? There was Aloy, Kratos, Ratchet and Clank, and the guy from Fist, the rabbit from Fist. He was in there a couple of times, and it stuck out to me as, that's interesting.
Do you reckon they've bought them? PlayStation China trailer.
No, there's also a rumor that they're eyeing what's the Black Wukong to be exclusive. To be exclusive to the PS5 when it launches, at least a timed one.
That would be pretty awesome.
That the makers of that one won't get acquired though, because they're not going to get acquired in a hurry. We'll put it that way, because they've got an agreement with a different publishing company.
Yeah, well, no, I'm not saying them getting acquired. I'm talking about them making that specific game like a timed exclusive.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. What about you, Shako?
About I don't want to repeat stuff.
No, of course. So what does play has no limits mean to you? Like, what about that? Because we've touched on technological, we've touched on the games, but I mean, it's more of a personal question. You know, it's kind of what excites you about. Is there anything that excites you particularly about the future? That kind of reflects on that. On the no limits aspect, like Family Man brought up the game variety. You know, there's a almost limitless game variety that has kind of been.
I did too,
and so did Wilhelm. Exactly.
So did Will. Play has no limits. From that, I just think about all the types of games that could possibly happen within the PlayStation ecosystem. What boundaries they will push, new boundaries, such as they pushed PlayStation 5, the first console to break through China. Correct me if I'm wrong. And also, that's a new market for them. It gains them more income. And making more partnerships, more connections to new talent that was never ever been tapped into, and we'll get games that's the first time that the world has ever seen with different cultures behind them.
Absolutely.
And at the end of the day, all of them, all of this, all the decisions are pushing some limits. But the most biggest limit that they're pushing, and that's the one they're pushing the most, is everlasting gaming. The sustained PlayStation for many years to come. And this reminds me of a slogan they used to have, and it's called "Long Live Play." Okay, and because they're pushing they're attempting new things, pushing things that have never been pushed before with the limits, in order to ensure the one thing that's most important, and that's the gaming. Mm-hmm. And I hope so in the future that we will never say goodbye to gaming. And they're ensuring it for all of us.
Same here, brother. Same here.
You're reminding me. That's like a thing that I forgot to touch upon. It's also a thing that just why exactly I'm attributing the word possibility with play has no limits is PlayStation always creates like not only iconic series, but also like iconic characters, and that has been true ever since the first PlayStation. Spyro and Crash. PlayStation 2, Sly, Jack, and Kratos. PlayStation 3, Ellie, Joel, and Infamous, exactly. Two, yeah, man. And Resistance, absolutely. PS4, we have literally like Alloy, the front of the cover, Jin Sakai.
And so many more, yeah.
Like we always get to see these old faces and new faces that like kind of are like mascots in a way. Mm-hmm. And we always see those faces, and those are those faces that we instantly connect with, that we instantly attribute with that PlayStation brand, and it's a thing that I just love.
Look at all these mascots, man. I mean,
yeah, look at all of that. Look at all of that. Like it's incredible.
And
incredible.
There's not even I've not even included Jak and Daxter. I've not included there's so many that I've had to miss out. I've not included Knack or Sackboy.
My boy Knack.
I've not included Sackboy. There are so many that I've not included here because there just isn't the room. But I mean, look at all these mascots, and to think that, you know, the narrative was going around Xbox has Master Chief, who does PlayStation have? I'm like, really? Yeah. Clearly, PlayStation has too many mascots.
And
PlayStation even has Charlie Sheen in FF7.
I love it. I love it. They should have Charlie Sheen in Returnal 2.0 or Returnal
Absolutely.
DLC.
Absolutely.
And
Please,
then it would be Charlie Celine, you know? That would be Charlie Celine, like a duo,
please,
dynamic duo.
someone has to make him an NPC or something, quest giver. Like, if that happens, I can
He was
die
in
happy,
Final
man,
Fantasy
if that
7,
happens.
right? He had a cameo in Final Fantasy
Yeah,
7 remake.
absolutely. Yeah, the character was called Biggs, I think. Like,
Facts.
when I saw that, I bursted out with joy. It was awesome.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Toolman, what about you, brother? Love your thoughts. PlayStation has no limits. They claim that, but what does that mean to you personally?
Well, first of all, I mean, you did a great job on that, by the way. I know you revised it here. What was that, yesterday you revised it, or today? It looks really good, and you know, there is more than enough characters. Maybe you're gonna have to put it like a one of them where it rotates the screens. That'll do it, and you can pop them in and out.
Well, I've actually,
on a timer.
I'll show people quickly. I've actually done a video with music, as you guys can hear, with a rotating background, like universe. But yeah, it's early days. I use CANVA. Shout out to them. It's an amazing software app. Allows you to do things quite easily. So yeah, I was just doing it in my spare time to I like making posters, and I want to get better at it and improve. So, but thank you, I appreciate it.
No problem. But what does it mean to me? You know, play has no limits. I mean, I don't know about the rest of you, but that, to me, that's like excitement. It's something that excites you, something that you know, stirs something up in you. And you know, David, you were mentioning earlier about leadership. I mean, and even Shaki, you were just mentioning about the games. I mean, why do we log into these systems? We log into these systems no matter which system it is. We log in these systems because of the games, because of the experiences that we get off of them, you know, and because it's an enjoyment. And, you know, back to you, David, you were talking about leadership. I said this last week. You know, leadership is so key. You were talking about how the leadership of PlayStation, you know, they're just spot on. You can't just go, you know, like we've heard from other platforms. You know, you just have the time you want. Here's the money you want. Just make whatever you feel like whenever you're done. You know, however much time you need. And you know, I never was on board with that. I mean, because like you said, David, I mean, you've got to have a structure. You've got to have you know, an anticipation for your group to work well as a team. They got to know, you know, like, here's the finish line. This is what we're going for. This is our goal. And I think too many times that some of the platform holders, they don't have that vision. They don't have that goal. Where PlayStation, I think they've had that, and they've proven it year after year. With their leadership, and that's why we get the great games, and that's why we, you know, praise PlayStation for being the top one out there, is because they've proven it, and they've proven it through their games because of their leadership. And you know, to the play has no limits. I believe, you know, that's some of the processes of how we get that. And you know, I want to go back to the two state of plays. The one that we had here just over the summer. You know, we go to those state of the plays, and we are like, you know, we're excited. We have that excitement of, because we don't know what they're going to show. We don't know what to expect, but we're always expecting something unexpected, something that we weren't even thinking of. And I think we got that twice in that show. The first thing they showed was something that we never even thought we were going to see. Maybe some of us did, but we had heard rumors or hints, but like, no, they wouldn't do anything like it. It was the KOTOR remake exclusively for the I think it's time. But that was
we had
like,
no idea that was going on behind the scenes. That deal, no idea.
just exactly, and it's things like that that just makes you excited. You want to tune in for that because you don't know what you're going to expect, and when you see that, it makes the future bright, and it makes it. You're just excited for the future. You're excited to invest in the ecosystem. You're excited to just play the games and to listen to your friends on the podcast and listen to these channels that you enjoy hearing about this stuff and learning about this stuff. So and then later on, so they went through a lot of the third party stuff, and I watched this many times of like reaction videos of people. And I think everybody had the same sentiment. They had a reaction of okay, now where's their first party? Okay, hopefully this isn't the last one. And then it came with Spider-Man, and it was just like Spider-Man 2 was like, what? Or was it Wolverine first? No, it was Spider-Man 2 first. And people were amazed by that because they thought it was Infamous just from the lightning. They're just they're really good at like making you doubt, like, oh no, because I heard many people go, no, this is Infamous. No, is this Spider-Man? And you really didn't know it. Then when they finally reveal it and you see it, people were shocked. Like, really? This is Insomniac is making another game, and then they come right out after that and they show something that none of us knew was coming. I mean, I didn't hear any hints of this. Nobody knew that Wolverine was going to be there, or that was even an idea. So to me, and I think pretty much everybody, that was really
It's a fantastic point, Toolman.
That was really,
By the way, I'm hearing that Sony has got another Marvel IP game in the works beyond Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine.
Oh shit.
That's what I'm hearing. But yeah, there's rumors going around,
do you know
and
the game?
Well, it's Daredevil is one of the names that got brought up.
I so wish, dude. I so wish.
Because he was in the. I haven't seen the movie yet, right? The No Way Home, but he was one of the lawyers in that movie, right?
He was.
Yeah.
I would play it like.
It was a really cool scene. It was a really cool scene with him in it.
Yeah,
it was class.
Yeah. I haven't watched it. It
was really cool. Yeah, I love the new scene as well.
Great movie. I love it.
Well, I tell you,
dude, I would love a Daredevil game, man. Like, I've been waiting for a long time.
I remember. Wasn't there? I remember when there was like this Daredevil game in development. I think it was. It was supposedly come out around the time the 2003 movie came out, which is a huge piece of shit. Don't watch that film. The soundtrack was great though. I love that soundtrack. Like, the movie was crap, and I remember there was a game in development.
You just loved the scandalous soundtrack that they played during the park fight scene. Ben Affleck and who was it? And Jennifer Garner, when they fought in the park, listening to Scandalous.
Yeah, Electra.
Yeah, you just loved that, didn't you?
I'm just a sucker for early 2000s new metal. It's like great stuff.
Another name that I heard was Blade, and I've always said that I wanted a Blade game from Sucker Punch, because I think, and that's another thing. Like, besides Insomniac, I think another PlayStation studio that will make a really amazing Marvel game, whether it's Daredevil or Blade, it will be Sucker Punch.
I think if I'm honest, I think the team that's done Sifu would be an amazing pick for a Blade game. Them or Sucker Punch, both would be amazing. And if Sifu runs, which I'm pretty sure Sifu would, it'd be incredible.
Platinum Games.
I disagree. Actually, Sifu did.
From Metal Gear.
Platinum Games.
Yeah, they made Metal Gear Rising, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
They know combat.
If it's the Sifu devs, it's Shang-Chi is what I would want.
Afrojack dev. Who made the Afrojack game?
Afrojack?
Oh shit!
Yeah.
That's a throwback.
That had an awesome slice.
Wait, you mean Afro Samurai, right?
Sorry, yes, Afro Samurai.
Yeah.
I don't know where Afro Jack came from.
You're
man.
thinking of Samurai Jack, and we're confusing it with Afro Samurai.
Yeah, I am.
I think PlayStation. Speaking of, play has no limits and stuff like that. But I think they're really going hard for Marvel IPs because I do think that they want PlayStation to be
and have an
the home of
Marvel
IPs and stuff like that.
If
So
Daredevil
I can
is in the
definitely
works,
see them.
Chris, if Daredevil is in the works, I think it's going to be Naughty Dog that's making it, and they're going to say, well, to Neil Druckmann, make the best Daredevil game you can, and if it lands, we'll give you The Punisher, which is his number 1 game that he wants to make.
That's the one he mentioned, wasn't it?
But Daredevil is set in the Punisher universe, so and vice versa. So I mean, I would imagine that they would have Naughty Dog do both, not Daredevil and the Punisher. But I think Daredevil has a bit more substance to it than the Punisher would, because literally the Punisher is a torture, shoot and kill kind of game. I imagine.
And this is what I like about this whole Marvel thing, right? Is because since Marvel has so many different characters, it creates they can create so many different types of games with different type of gameplay, and then it's not going to be the same thing. Because I already know, right? Sony announces like another Marvel game, right? Besides the ones they already announced. People are the naysayers, the haters, or whatever, they're just gonna be like, we're just gonna get nothing but superhero games, and I'm gonna be like, what's wrong with that? Because every superhero game is gonna be completely different because they all have different superpowers, different stories, different narrative, different settings that they can go to. So, I think it all works out when it comes to having, like what somebody mentioned earlier, right? Having that variety as well.
Yeah, big time.
Again, man, if it's a seafood debs, then it's Shang-Chi. You have to make Shang-Chi, bro.
Yeah. Shang-Chi would be.
The Shang-Chi game would be awesome.
Yeah, or Iron Fist.
Shang-Chi,
They'll make a good Iron Fist.
Yeah, Iron Fist as well. Yeah.
I can imagine seafood devs would pay to be part of the PlayStation family. I mean, they definitely deserve to be. I think what the quality that they're putting out is incredible.
They enjoy their independence, though. They few behind the scenes things they've done. They really enjoy their independence.
Yeah.
So if Slow Clap becomes PlayStation Studios, I'm totally on board with that because I think they would deserve more support, more funding. I also think that for a Shang-Chi game, actually, I've been thinking about this. I said before, I've always wanted to see RGG partner up with PlayStation on a AAA game. I think Shang-Chi would be the perfect game for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
RGG, Yakuza developers.
In response to Compost Smurf, Neil Druckmann needs to get his fucking multiplayer.
Oh, Punisher!
I love that.
Was a Punisher?
Yeah.
Oh, Neil Druckmann was a Punisher.
What I will say. What I will say to that, Compost, is Neil was praising Fortnite, not for the wrong reasons, but in terms of the level of ambition. And there's no denying Fortnite is a whole league of ambition in itself, in terms of the updates that they give it, the live events that they produce, the way that they take huge risks each season to change it up and make it fresh. I mean, I'm not a fan only because I've never really taken the time to become a fan. But it used to be a meme to hate Fortnite, and now it's winning over even the non-believers. It's like, I know, Justin Bieber all over again. And in that sense, I think Neil's got quite an ambition. Ambition for this multiplayer that they're releasing. I think it's going to be a lot more ambitious than just a Factions 2.0. If that makes sense. That's the feeling I get.
I'll just chip in here for a second if I can. My thoughts with the whole Marvel, Sony Marvel partnership is that I think they need to be very careful which studio does what. Naughty Dog don't really do fast-paced games, narrative games at the moment.
Don't think their engine could handle it, to be honest.
No, it's if Naughty Dog are going to do a Marvel game, it's got to be one with a heavy storyline, and it's got to be at a medium slow pace.
Yeah, the Punisher.
Yeah, so Punisher is a perfect one for Naughty Dog. Daredevil, I wouldn't give to Naughty Dog. I think Daredevil will be really good over at Sucker Punch, actually.
Yes,
they've got an engine that can handle it. They've got good storytellers that can handle it. I agree with Akira. I think if Slow Clap get in, they should get that one, or partner with RGG and get them to do it as a third party through Sega, or Altus, or whoever's the publisher for RGG at the moment. But if you're talking about Marvels, where's an X-Men game? I know we're getting Wolverine.
X-Men.
Where's an X-Men game?
But no, they need to build it up first.
But they need to build up first.
Yeah, they need to start with Wolverine, and then maybe they'll build from there. This is what I want to know. This is actually what I really want to know about Insomniac. Are they really building a Marvel game universe?
I hope.
Yes, they are.
Because Spider-Man and Wolverine seems to be from the same universe.
No, well, that's already
looks
confirmed.
like it's confirmed.
That's all within the same.
And Miles, of course, Spidey, Miles, and Wolverine so far. And maybe we'll get more other characters that's going to join the Marvel game universe.
It's going to be literally
MGU.
The MGU, yeah. It's
Dude, I'll be on board, man. I'll be on board. It's cool.
I'll go one step further and I'll say I would love to get a proper X-Men game with the proper X-Men. I shouldn't say the proper X-Men characters, with the core X-Men characters: Gambit, Storm, Wolverine's in there. Cyclops, all of those. But don't do it. And this is my personal preference. Don't do it in the same art style as Spider-Man or Wolverine. Mm-hmm. Do it in an anime type art style, similar to like what they're doing with DNF, or something like that. Give it to us in that type of art style.
I would love that.
I would love that.
I would love that too. But knowing Sony, they're gonna want that graphics, like the ultra realistic graphics and stuff like that. Like
they'll do it all. They'll do it all motion capture. They'll do it all motion capture. Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like with the Marvel thing, it's great. We've got these few. There's certain studios that Sony has that would do the different, like the Punisher for Naughty Dog. I think Sucker Punch would do really good with the slightly faster, more scaled up Daredevil. But there's so many awesome Marvel characters.
Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch's Daredevil would be interesting because Sucker Punch really never made a proper hand-to-hand combat game before, or gameplay before. Because they made Infamous, they made Ghost of Tsushima, and basically what I'm trying to say is that it would be interesting to see if they can actually nail it, because they nailed it with a sword. Why not? Why not with bare fists, just like how Matt Murdock fights?
That's what I'm saying, because of what they built with Ghost of Tsushima, right? The samurai, right?
Yeah, you can do it with hands.
I think, and we've seen some of their abilities or whatever. This is why I think that they'll also be the perfect candidate for a Blade game as well.
I will tell you something, man. If Rocksteady would only make a Marvel game, I would give them Daredevil. If Rocksteady would only make a Marvel game, I would give them Daredevil. I'm serious about that. I would totally give them Daredevil.
Daredevil is pretty much Batman.
Yeah.
This whole conversation, like we're just having now, again, it ties back to the original question that Woolie's posed. What does the future look like when play has no limits? We're sitting here talking about potentially 10 different games based off Marvel characters, and talking about which studios would do a good job of it, and having faith that those studios could produce something we all want. Now, what other gaming company, what other leading company could we do that with? Couldn't sit here and do that with most of the other ones. Mm-hmm. This is
definitely not Crystal Dynamics.
Exactly. This is.
I want to ask something. Actually, this is actually a good question. That's a good question, but we're not talking about Crystal Dynamics. Do you think a Japanese developer can make a Marvel game?
They have Team Ninja. Team Ninja made Ultimate Marvel Alliance 3.
Yeah,
On the
sure.
Switch.
Yeah, true.
I know what you're talking about. I'm talking about like
Yeah.
like a big
Yeah, I mean
one,
single player kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, Kojima would make a Marvel game. That'll be the day, right?
Yeah, I would say
That'll be the day,
Kojima,
right?
the Resident Evil developers over there, Capcom.
Bro.
I think they could probably make a pretty good Marvel
Kojima
game.
can do.
Appreciate
Kojima can do Daredevil. Actually, Kojima Productions can do
Not
Daredevil.
only do Sony have the first party infrastructure to have this kind of confidence in, this variety of studio talent that specialize in things that we can see games actually working with these studios, but they have third party infrastructure as well. They could issue out an IP to Square Enix and say, how would you like to partner with us in creating this game, or
but I'm serious,
that would
bro.
Be some pulling power, like
Kojima can totally do a Daredevil. I mean, he did Metal Gear Solid 5, right? I mean, I think he could do a Daredevil. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I think he can do a Daredevil if he wanted. Yeah. I mean, he likes that fucked up storyline, storytelling Daredevil has.
Hideo Kojima is too ambitious for his own
for a superhero game.
For his own creations. He wants to create his own thing.
I mean, what I'm trying to say, if he would handle Daredevil, it would be like some crazy fucked up mind fuck story.
No, I want Kojima to do Doctor Strange.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah, all right. Yeah, you know what?
Yeah, that would be incredible. That would be
that actually works. But no, I get what Woolie's saying. Kojima likes creating his own shit, which is true. I mean, he's good at it.
He's working on the Silent Hill. If we are to kind of, take every motherfucking hint that he's dropping with more than just a pinch of salt. Then so he is working on a pre-existing IP in that case, and he isn't. It isn't above him. It isn't below him to work on pre-existing IPs. So go on, Faulkner.
No, I was just going to say there's Hideo Kojima is one of those developers that must have the Sony production team overseeing him, otherwise he'll be off and running and you'll never get another game out of him because he'll just keep changing and keep changing. So he'll always have that partnership with them because they understand and they know how to get the best out of it.
By the way, guys, I just wanted to bring this up, by the way, because this is very interesting. All right, I really wish, right, that PlayStation will have proper stocks for Japan next year, because Famitsu Charts just revealed, Japan's most anticipated games for next year. Yeah. And on top of the list, number 1 is Final Fantasy 16, up above right there. That is already a sign that this game is gonna sell consoles. So if PlayStation is smart, they're gonna be shipping those PS5s to Japan as well by next year.
I think Final Fantasy 16 is a huge window for the Japanese for PlayStation in Japan. It's going to.
I got it up there, I mean, 16 is Bayonetta 3, and then Breath of the Wild. Dude, Bayonetta 3 beat Breath of the Wild by ranking. That shit threw me off.
But it's just for the week. So it's this is the top 10. It's Final Fantasy 16, right, for PS5. Bayonetta 3 Switch, Breath of the Wild 2 Switch, Splatoon 3 Switch, Dragon Quest X offline. I think that's like PS4 maybe, or Pokemon Legends. Number 7 is Gran Turismo 7 PS5. Number 8 is Ushiro. I don't know what that is. Number 9 is Triangle Strategy, and then number 10 is Pragmata from Capcom for the PS5. So there's 3 PlayStation 5 games on this list that a lot of Japanese gamers are anticipated, which is to me what I was saying earlier.
What's this list?
That
where is this?
It's the Famitsu. Hold on, I'll get you. I'll send you the. I'll send you the list on the DMs.
Famitsu is kind of like this official thing, right?
But Final
gathering.
I'll send you the top.
Final Fantasy 16 tops Famitsu's most wanted charts.
Yeah, Japanese opinions.
got it.
Of games, Famitsu is like the most credible ones that you can find. And again, to be honest with you, it did surprise me that 16 is number one. Yeah, I actually expected Breath of the Wild too. Definitely, though. I expected Breath of the Wild, but 16 being number one is just proof that game is gonna sell consoles, and they better deliver those consoles here. They better. Next year.
And it's always been an issue. Part of the strategy that Sony had was they scaled the consoles with the expectation. Well, I shouldn't say the expectation, with the populace expectation. So, like, for example, Japan's been given bugger all consoles, even though they've got a gaming population that's in the tens of millions, right? But the gaming population in Japan is less than the gaming population in America or Europe. I mean, and so they've done the scaling and deliveries. And Akira and I had a chat about this the other day. Black Friday sales, Cyber Monday sales, and all that sort of stuff. Not really a big thing in Japan.
There's
and
only
that's why you saw those
in Japan, right? The population.
Population, but the gaming population. You think about what the console gaming population is in a country of Japan. So in Australia, we got 25 million people. If you sell 1 million consoles in Australia, you are king. Like, you are dead set king. But one console, as I said before, one console in the house might have 4 or 5 people playing it. Whereas with the Switch, different story. It's mobile on-the-go gaming, and you've got maybe one Switch console in the house and 4 or 5 people playing it, but there might be 3 or 4 other Switches in that house, which are the Switch Lites. So in sheer volume, you think if there's, what is it, 20 million Switches or 25 million Switches have been sold in Japan? That's like 1 in every 4 people's got one.
Yeah, 25.
1 in every 5 people's
25.
got one. Yeah. So 1 in every 5 people's got one. And they take it on the go. And you look at the top ranking games for the Switch in Japan. Animal Crossing. You can get on there and do 10 minutes while you're waiting for a train, save your progress, and off you go. They're not story-driven games. So anyway, I've spoken about that before, but with the console piece, for Australia, I got mine in the second issuance of, the first issuance sold out in minutes. The second issuance of pre-sales was out, and I picked mine up. It released in November, and I got mine just before Christmas in December. Then there was a 6-month wait before the next load came through, and then I think we're on our 4th or 5th pre-sale in Australia, and they've barely sold 20,000. There's the PS5's a rare as shit here in Australia. Yet they're selling hundreds of thousands in America every week. So, or every month. So, and the same thing for Japan. They'll get a few thousand here and a few thousand there. And it's just, that's how it is. Unfortunately, they didn't issue a lot to it, but, they haven't had the big sales events that West have had with Black Friday and the Cyber Monday and all that. But I believe next year, early next year, January, February, they'll get the big hit of stock to make that push. Or it might even be in February. They'll get that big hit of stock to make that push to get the sales up and running. They got to do it soon, or they might as well not bother.
Akira, mate, your mic's making a lot of noise, bro.
Yeah, you got background noise, Akira.
Oh. Okay, he's all right.
Continue, Mr. Faulkner.
Sorry, I was just going to say, February is stacked, March is stacked. There's a lot of consoles out in the wild in Europe, America, and they're the main places. So some of the, if they don't get them out in Japan and get a good stock through in Japan, and they get up in the hundreds of thousands by June, they might as well not bother. It's getting to that point where they're 18 months past launch. They've got games there, but it wouldn't be worth doing. And that's an unfortunate thing when they are trying really hard to get stuff in there, but they've got other, if the demand is so great in Europe and the demand isn't that great in Japan or Australia or Latvia or wherever it is, South Africa even, if the demand is outstripping in one spot to another, well, the numbers say you've got to send the stock over there because you will sell it. You've got to do it. So, and it's an unfortunate thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. But yeah,
there was a comment in the chat about developers abandoning PlayStation Japanese developers abandoning PlayStation Japan. We've talked at this ad nauseum. If you've got a console like a Switch, which is piss easy to develop for, you can make a game inside of 12 months, and you don't have to push. push hard anything. And you sell 50, you got 30 odd million consoles as your sales base. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You'd be nuts not to.
That's why.
Where if you're gonna
go on, sorry.
I was just saying, if you're gonna develop for PlayStation, you have to make a PS4. If you're gonna aim for Japan, you've got to make a PS4 version of it because there's not enough PS5s to carry it. And if you don't make a PS4 version of it, well, you might as well just make it for the Switch and be done. Because the development costs are bugger all.
Mm-hmm. It literally is.
So
it requires Sony making deals with Japanese devs in order for. It's almost like they have to invade Japan. The PS5 needs to invade Japan before rather than devs going to PS5 from Japan. And
they need to saturate the market much with consoles.
Final Fantasy 16 the scalping will do guys that, hopefully, or will aid that.
Yeah. But I mean, we talk about it ad nauseum, but I just saw it in there. I thought I'll just address that because, it's one thing I did want to ask: is there anybody in the chat that hasn't had a chance to put their 2 cents in? I think everyone's spoken, haven't they?
Actually, I want to say so. What I believe is gonna happen, because I think it's just the logical thing that would happen, is that when 16 starts marketing or they release their second trailer, that's when the stocks in Japan is gonna go up. The reason why I say this is because that's what happened when Intergrade launched. When Intergrade was released, there was a lot of PS5s in Japan because the sales for PS5 really went up when Intergrade was released.
Yeah, it was like damn near 100,000 that they were putting out in stock.
Because the Japanese, the Japanese people love Final Fantasy. That's why it's the most anticipated games as well as Final Fantasy 16. But 16. When the second trailer drops or the marketing starts, they're gonna ramp up those PS5 because there are gonna be a lot of Japanese people who will want a PS5. And then what the next step that Sony would need to do is to have more games that is kind of like similar caliber of 16 when it comes to Japanese gamers.
Yeah,
if they
Persona,
want
Persona 6.
Yeah, exactly. If they want more, Japanese people to buy the PS5, and Persona 6 would be perfect because Persona 5 is extremely popular. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's extremely popular.
Completely agreed. It's got to have if you have it lined up with a launch event, the thing will fly off the shelves.
Mm-hmm. What about
having enough there to make sure they're on the shelf is the biggest problem they've got. We had a huge issue in Australia with that as well, where they go up for pre-order, and the way they launched it globally was a clusterfuck. But the way they did it in Australia was you had to physically go into EB Games. They were the only ones who had them. You could register online. You had to be a member. You could only get one. You had to go into the shop, produce your ID, and as soon as it showed up, you had 24 hours to go and pick it up, and that was it. You couldn't actually get them delivered. You had to go and physically pick them up. And in the middle of a bloody pandemic, that was a challenge and a half in itself. But that's how they got around it in Australia. But we only had 15,000. For the whole first 12 months of release, it was like 15,000 consoles got sent to Australia. So,
yeah.
Sorry. But yeah, I agree with what Akira's saying there. That's probably when you'll see it happen, and that's what's it? February, March is when Origins comes out, isn't it? Final Fantasy Origins.
March is when Origins. Yeah. Origins
comes out. Yeah. And then when Final Fantasy 16 hits,
but then you also got but here's the thing, you got the Switch that's also going to have a crazy year next year as well, because in January, in a couple weeks, you got that new Pokemon game coming out, and then right after that, Triangle Strategy, which is like a Final Fantasy Tactics game made by the Octopath Traveler team. Then Bayonetta is coming out, which is the second most anticipated game on that for Mitsu list.
This is sorry about that, Chris. This is why I said when 16 was crowned the most anticipated game of 2022, I was really surprised because I was expecting a Switch game on top, to be honest with you guys. So So the fact that 16 got that power to actually,
though, this is only 500 readers voted. Like it's a very, very small group of people have voted.
Yeah, no, it's all good. But
it's not representative of the entirety of Japan.
That's true as well. But Famitsu is pretty credible. You see, Famitsu is very, very popular here. Mm-hmm. So if they show that the most anticipated game in Famitsu is Final Fantasy 16, that name is going to be plastered everywhere because it's Famitsu published it.
Yeah.
Every Japanese gamer would know, about this, and then maybe some people who never heard of the game would actually be intrigued and check it out. It's kind of like the Famitsu effect.
I wanted to,
like I said, sorry, go ahead.
No, go on, Akira. Finish your point.
What I said is the fact that 16 has the power to, let's just say, beat other games when it comes to hype, right? Beat a game like Breath of the Wild 2, which is on Switch, which is actually the game I expected to be on top of the Famitsu rank. But then if they got that chance right there, maybe they just really need more. Like I said, Final Fantasy 16 caliber kind of Japanese games that Japanese people would love, and then maybe they will really have a chance to sell that PS5 here. That's what I'm trying to say. Yep. Like, it's not completely lost, is what I'm trying to say to the Switch. It's not completely a loss. There is a chance, and I think they should grab it.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'll just jump in here quickly, guys. I got to head off.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks for the chat.
Faulkner, it's been invaluable having you on, bro. Thank you so much. And I'm sorry, I apologize for my I guess the vagueness of my questions tonight. I've not been a very good host, to be fair, but no,
I don't see that.
It's still been an awesome discussion, and I really appreciate you being on.
It's all good, and I think that the discussions we've had have been on the topic of what's the limit? Where are their limits? What are their challenges? And I think we've covered a lot of their key points. But yeah, so anyway, I've got to head off, guys. But again, have a safe one. Thanks for having me on tonight, David. And I'll catch up with you soon.
Really appreciate you, brother.
Nice talking to you, man.
Take care, David.
So
thanks, guys.
I wanted to ask you guys before we wrap this up. What are your most anticipated games? I want to start with Shako. What's your most anticipated game? I'd also like you to add what would be what are you most hopeful for that maybe hasn't been announced yet, or what would you hope for that Sony would put out for PlayStation? Because I know like people like Buck Roger in the chat, he's very disillusioned at the moment with PlayStation. He's very let down because they've kind of not taken risks anymore to him, and they've kind of distanced themselves from unique experiences and just going for more safe, commercialized, kind of generic games. And that's
The Last of Us 2. That was anything but safe, man.
Yeah, I agree 100%. But Buck's old school, so I mean,
I don't particularly disagree with what some of the things he was saying, but I don't think they're being overly safe.
No,
I mean, they had a Western developer develop a game based in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that was risky.
And Returnal wasn't safe either.
Yeah, true. That, yeah, I love that game, by the way.
That's a great point. That's a great point also. So, what about you, Shako? What's your most anticipated game, brother? And would you wish for anything if you could pray to Santa Herman for Santa Holst? We'll call him Santa Holst for anything. What would it be?
Okay. Let's see. What would my most anticipated game is God of War, Ragnarok, because I love the 2018 game, and I played the previous games as well. So I'm very excited for it, and what new gameplay, new combat they've added to it, and the direction of the story will be. And what would I ask from my Santa Herman? I would have asked from Papa Jaffe because he's more of a Santa Claus looking person, but you know.
Oh, we had him on the 12th episode. I'll never forget.
Yeah, I remember that. And then then DZ wanted you to call yourself the Audacity.
I did. I was called that for 2 weeks on Twitter.
Yeah. I don't know anything really. I would like an overall or not Overwatch or Sunset Overdrive remaster for PlayStation, because I played it on Xbox. I used to have an Xbox but didn't finish the game, and really would like to continue my playthrough of that. That could be likely. They could do that. That would be nice. There's a second thing that will never happen, but I would like to see it happen. But you'll say, nah, that's stupid idea right there. What are you thinking? Just an idea if it ever happens. I would like a 3D action adventure game that's a Pokemon game. I know that Nintendo owns some of it owns the IP, is not all of it, but some of it, and also the Pokemon company. So it will never happen go to PlayStation. But I really would like an Infernape game, and be only next generation, because a lot of these Pokemon games are limited to Nintendo hardware, and I would have liked to see what's the full unleashed potential if you let that franchise go into a much more capable hardware.
So basically, Dokeb. Basically, Dokeb.
Basically, Persona.
No.
Persona 5.
No, Akira. I want it to be at the same. I'm picking Infernape here. I want it to be the same level as Wukong here. Yeah. Flames, action. I want all of that.
Wait. A Pokemon same level as Wukong?
Yeah, no, not same level. But, I mean,
production value. Let
me talk. Let me finish. An action adventure game, okay? Not a collecting game, not an RPG. Oh, it could be an RPG. Yeah, it could retain some of the elements, but
it would have to be a collecting
game. It's complete
game.
Action.
Hey Shako, okay. So let me get this straight. So imagine like you're fighting a giant Charizard, and you've got a selection of 4 or 5 different Pokemon equipped in your inventory, and you spawn one, and your Pokemon carries out all these different moves that you control the Pokemon, and you're attacking this giant Charizard and fighting its weaknesses with your strengths, and then when it's weakened, the trainer throw a Pokeball at it and capture it. Like, is that kind of like?
No, not at all. Just a single player, one character only in control, and that's just Infernape. He has so many moves you can pick and choose to mix and match and combine them into combos you can fight.
So you are a Pokemon.
Fight. Yeah. Oh, you are. Yeah, you are the Pokemon himself, not the Pokemon trainer. It's literally a story.
You should. Sorry. You should try Pokken. It's Pokemon fighting game, basically. Did you try that before? Ever tried that? Pokken?
No.
It's a real thing. It's a real thing. I'm serious. It's a real thing.
That's right. Namco made that, didn't they?
Yeah, it was on the Wii U. It was the second dev.
Oh, Pokemon. You mean the tournament between fighting? It's a fighting game. You mean?
Yeah, it's like Tekken but with Pokemon.
Oh yeah. Nah. It's nothing like I
wanted to ask because you said you want to be the Pokemon itself in this action adventure game.
You want Poke Souls, don't you? You want Poke Souls.
You want to be Pikachu in the world of Pokemon, something like that, right?
Yeah, you can traverse through the world, go on top of
I,
rooftops, something like that.
it,
Just
actually,
really,
a like next gen version of Detective Pikachu can actually give you that. To be honest.
Nah, you have to play as Greninja for a game like that.
Yeah, true. True as
No,
well.
Just straight
this
up
game
Pokemon.
No,
sounds.
I'm trying to
That
imagine
sounds
like
like a
I'm
really
I
trying
don't
to
think I
imagine
don't think
why
I don't think that
Pokemon.
type of game. But go ahead.
that sounds like an awesome game,
It
Shaco.
does sound awesome, but I don't know how it works.
And
Sounds like a personality
I've
disorder to me.
so, what about you, Family Man Gamer? What's your most anticipated game? And if you could pray to or write a letter to Santa Holst, what would you ask for?
Son of
and
a
host.
Um, well, my most anticipated is Gran Turismo 7.
Oh,
Um, the mix
Nice.
between GT Sport and old school Gran Turismo car PG elements has me excited, man. It's like we're getting the best of both worlds. So we're gonna get an amazing multiplayer experience and that classic Gran Turismo single player experience where you get to collect all your cars again. You know, you get your single player events and your endurance races and stuff like that. So that's the game I'm most excited for. But I don't need to really explain Gran Turismo. Everyone's aware of what that is.
I'm not gonna lie. I've ordered an LG C1 55 for my bedroom, and for Christmas it's like my Christmas gift to me and the missus. And I have my PS5. I got my missus another gift. Don't worry. And I know people will say the TV's primarily for you, Wooly. You know, but and maybe so. But my missus loves the TV in the bedroom, so it'll be a nice upgrade. And I'm going to be taking my PS5 away from my monitor, keeping my monitor strictly for my PC, and I'm going to have my PS5 hooked up to my LG C1, and I am really looking forward to playing Gran Turismo Sport on that bad boy, and even more so Gran Turismo 7 when that launches. So
Yeah, Gran Turismo Sports. Once you get what it is, it's just awesome. I mean, for me, Gran Turismo has always been about how the cars handle on the track. Do you know what I mean? And Sport didn't change that; it just made it better. Don't get me wrong, I understand why it scored lower. It had less content than the older games, and you know, it kind of got rid of this single player
that was all
experience.
fixed, though,
So
over time, wasn't it? But yeah, at launch it wasn't
yeah,
good.
yeah. So I understand the complaints, but at the core of it, it was still Gran Turismo. Do you know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to that. There's two things I would really like that I don't think are gonna happen. The first one is the space RPG that was rumored from Naughty Dog years ago. And I mean years and years ago, it was rumored that they were working on an open space RPG.
Wow.
And we've just never heard anything of it since. It was just a rumor. It had a lot to do with, you know, like the Savage Starlight comics and stuff in the games. I think it had a lot to do with that. I think that's where the rumor started. I don't know. But it was just a rumor I heard, and I always thought it would be awesome to have like a more open Naughty Dog game set in space.
That would be
Because
awesome.
I dig space. I love all that crap. My second one, I'd really love a new Jak and Daxter. They are my favorite platformers, and I would really, really, really like a new one. But
That's
I know
a
I'm
really
probably
good
not going to
shout.
get it.
Jak and Daxter 2 was amazing.
Yeah,
I
that was my
love
favorite one.
I love that. And even today, Jak 3 holds up. You know, it's gorgeous game.
Yeah, yeah.
The HD
The animations are fantastic in it, even today.
So what about?
But I loved it.
No, they're amazing. They're amazing shouts, and I agree. That would be awesome. So Toolman, questions over to you. What's your most anticipated game? And if you could ask Santa Holst for any game in particular or anything, what would it be?
Most anticipated. I'm looking forward to Forbidden West. After putting as much time as I put into Horizon Zero Dawn, I'm looking forward to that. I think everybody's waiting for that one. You know, there's several others that are pretty close to that. I'm looking forward to Destiny 2's Witch Queen. That's pretty a close second for me coming out. And that, reluctantly, that comes out 4 days after Forbidden West does. So that's not a good timing there, but there's like 5 games coming out in
it's
February.
Tough. It's going to be tough.
So
tough on your wallet.
But I don't know. I was thinking of that whenever you first asked Shacky, and going down the line, and it's not a PlayStation game, and I know I played it a lot. This is before PlayStation even came up with their own console, but it was on Nintendo. Was the Contra series. I was wondering, I always liked playing Contra. I put many hours into Contra back in the day playing that, but I wouldn't necessarily want it to be a platform or anything like that. I'd rather play, like a reimagine of it and playing that and, like today's standards of types games, but not a platformer at all, but some kind of, linear type story for it or something like that. Always liked Contra, and I thought that'd be cool. So.
Yeah. Buck's really upset about GT7 having an always online mode. I believe there is an offline mode, but it doesn't progress your campaign, which really sucks. So no, I fully appreciate and understand that, Buck. It's not good enough in my opinion, that always online mode for GT7. Excuse me, I'm yawning. Apparently it's to prevent cheaters and stuff, but I really think they should separate the campaign from the multiplayer personally. But yeah, I do. I'm gutted for you, Buck. GT Sport though is still amazing, and even today the car models far outpass the car models in, say, Forza Horizon 5. So, but no, I understand your frustrations. It is sad for old school gamers, that the gaming industry is inevitably going in this direction of internet access, and it's either you kind of go with it or you don't. It sucks. It sucks for those who prefer offline gaming. So I do feel for you, dude, and I understand. No, but they're great shouts, Tool Man. So a new Contra series would be awesome. I've never played them, but I've heard good things. Is that it? Would you say?
I'm also looking forward to what they've been working on something in the background for years. I'm hoping it's not a mobile game, because they did a partnership with NetEase for $100 million. I'm hoping it's not a mobile game, but there's been rumor that the names matter, but I think that's just the code name for it. But
I can't imagine 100 million funding would be for a mobile game, especially when it would need to be a premium mobile game that costs in order to justify that kind of budget. And I don't think they would sell very well. Mobile games don't tend to sell very well when they cost money, unless it becomes more popular and comes back into fashion.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to Bungie. I mean, you look at their last 2 IPs, they've just been blockbusters, between the Destinies and then the Halos. They came out, they're just masters of that type of gameplay and stuff, and the kind of storytelling and just the mechanics involved. But even the games before that, I never played any of the games before those, but I think they were more PC games and stuff. I think most of those were, but I think some of them had pretty good audience. But Bungie, they're just, in my opinion, they're one of the top developers out there, and I'm just looking forward to what they are cooking up. That they should be announcing. I think probably 25. I think I read about that. 25 or 26. They're supposed to be, is when Destiny, the 10-year plan's coming to the end. So when they finish that up, so I'm looking forward to that as well.
Awesome stuff. Wilhelm, what about you, my dude? what's your most anticipated game? And if you could ask Herman Santa anything for anything, what would it be?
I mean, I am basically Herman Santa.
Herman Santa.
Yeah.
He's gonna ask himself.
Does it have to be one game, or can I mention like a couple?
You can mention a couple.
Okay, one game I am looking forward to is Sifu, which releases on what month, Akira?
February 8th. February 8th. February 8th.
It's Christmas Miracle.
I love that, bro. I love that.
Sifu looks badass. I'm looking forward to Sifu. Slitherhead, I think it's called by the Silent Hill creator.
Yeah, bro, it's so cool,
I think that looks very promising, and I'm kind of disappointed that it didn't have more fanfare when it was announced on Game Awards, because it does look promising, and it's literally by the guy who created one of the most. It's by the guy who created one of the most important, popular. Toyama. Yeah, it's created by the guy who made one of the most important.
Father of Silent Hill.
Yeah, Silent Hill, basically. Yeah. And so I think
I don't know, man. It looks really unique and interesting.
Yeah. So I think it has like a lot of potential. And God of War Ragnarok also a game I anticipate. I just want to see where the journey of both Kratos and his son carries on. Just like I've been a fan of these games ever since I played God of War 3, and just I'm hyped. I'm hyped for what's to come. And if I could have a game, if I could ask basically my alter ego,
Charlie Sheen, the video game, wouldn't
it? I mean, I basically got that with FF7 and Biggs. It's basically that. But if I could ask my alter ego Santa Holtz for any game that I could want, that I could have, I don't know. For one, I could, Compost Smurf, you're talking out of my soul. I would love a new Duke Nukem game, especially if it could have like Charlie Sheen as like cameo appearance or something. Like a new Duke Nukem would definitely be badass, but only if it was made by 3D Realms. I don't trust the greasy ass Randy with that. I want it by 3D Realms. Another thing I would want is a surrealist kind of game, like Deadly Premonition, but like leaning more towards surrealist horror with those RE4 elements. Because
isn't that what that bokeh game is? Slitterhead.
I mean,
from Bokeh Game Studio, yeah.
I don't know how far it will lean into surrealism. Yeah, Slitherhead could basically fill that kind of hole.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so forget
There's
about that.
There's something unique about it. I agree.
I mean, if it's not, then I love surrealism. I'm a big David Lynch fan, so I would appreciate more art house surrealism in gaming. That would be awesome. And another thing is basically a very simple wish. I would just love a badass action game. A very badass action game with some early 2000s nu metal as soundtrack.
That's basically Gungrave Gore.
Yeah,
but does it have in its soundtrack Mudvayne and System of a Down? I think not.
It is rock soundtrack. It's from the same. The anime is from the creator of Trigun.
Do you basically? Are you destroying all of my wishes and telling me that they've already been granted? You're destroying the entire purpose of it all.
Sorry.
He's telling you it's fulfilling. Isn't that why the wishes are? You're wishing for them.
You have to be careful for what you wish for.
Okay. That's a genie thing. This is a Santa thing. Santa things work at the end with no problem.
What about Metal Hellsinger? That's got heavy metal music to a Doom-esque gameplay loop, except you time your shots in sync with the music, and the soundtrack is amazing, apparently.
You know what? I don't have any wishes. I'm happy as I am.
I'll tell you what, the world is catering to your wishes.
The world is just catering to me.
It's Charlie Sheen, bro. It's Charlie Sheen. It's
genius, man. It's the
magic energy. It's his magic energy that's kind of, I don't know, blessing you.
The Adonis DNA.
Yeah, big facts. Big
Yo,
facts, bro.
Facts. Facts, bro. Facts.
So no, that's awesome, man. I'm glad you're getting your wish. What about you, Chris?
Well, my most anticipated game was Breath of the Wild 2, but if we're just talking about PlayStation, if Final Fantasy 16 comes out in 2022, that would definitely be my most anticipated game. But if not, then definitely Horizon Forbidden West, because all of my gripes that I had about the first game when it comes to the gameplay and the open world structure and the mechanics, they seem to be addressing all of that and going above and beyond from everything that I've been asking for from the previous game that I wanted to see improved in the sequel. It looks like a huge step up and whatnot. So I'm really, 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 really loving everything that I'm seeing about Forbidden West, what I've been reading, all the different blogs, all the different breakdowns from the mechanics to the world that they're trying to go for and the level that they're going for. You can really tell that they're really passionate and they're really trying to outdo themselves from the first game, which it already seems like they already are. But yeah, so and of course I'm looking forward to all the other. I mean, there's so many games I'm looking forward to next year. Next year, just out of PlayStation and Nintendo, it's gonna be a crazy year, and I'm scared about the time and the money that I'm gonna have when it's all said and done. But as far as like what I would love, like if I had like a special request, I will have two special requests from for Herman Holson and Jim Ryan. One would be, I would definitely love SOCOM to come back. A very another hardcore competitive third person tactical shooter, because I feel like we don't get a lot of those nowadays. It feels like a lot of the competitive shooters are mainly first person shooters and whatnot. But I would love SOCOM to come back, especially if it has a similar game mode to like Rainbow Six Siege, where it's about where you have attackers and defenders and you got to set your stuff up. I think that would work really well with a game like SOCOM, in my opinion, where you have the defender setting up a base and then the attackers, you have to approach from outside the base and try to get on and go through their defense and stuff like that. And then my next game will definitely be a complete Legend of Dragoon reboot or a complete remake from the ground up, made by like Blue Point or somebody like that as well. So yeah, that's pretty much for me when it comes to that.
That's amazing. And finally, Akira. What about you? What's your most anticipated game, and what would you ask Santa Herman?
Yeah, so most anticipated game, as everybody knows by now, it's definitely Sifu. Because I'm a big beat 'em up genre fan.
And that's coming now, when again, Akira? When's that?
February 8th, 2022. Yeah, I memorize games that I'm excited for. I memorized it, released it. But yeah, my wish is actually, Chris kind of said it already. It's the Legend of Dragoon remake. Absolutely. I love that game so much. I finished it over 50 times. I never lost hope that it's going to come back someday. And now that there's a chance, hopefully Blue Point does it. I'm really hoping hard that they do it. Another wish that I would have would be what was that? What was that called again? Another wish that I would have again is that PlayStation did Jackie Chan and Jet Li before as exclusives. They made a game with Jackie Chan before. They made a game
Jackie
with Jet
Chan
Li before.
Adventure, Jackie Chan Stuntman, it was called. Yeah.
And I would like a next gen to make another martial arts legend. Either it's Donnie and Iko Wise from the Raid Redemption. Yeah, Iko Wise from the Raid Redemption movies, or Tony Jaa from the Ong Bak movies, or Protector. Mm-hmm. Just like how they did Jackie Chan Jet Li before, where they did this exclusive game with a martial arts expert That I would wish. But yeah, Donnie Yen is the top of the list if they were to ever do it again. It would be Donnie Yen, definitely. Yeah, that would be like my wish on it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That would be like the one.
That's awesome.
Because, we don't know. You know what? There's actually a company that has been quiet recently that people have not been noticing because they're so quiet. So Square Enix have been trying to do some, make some noise here and there, but it's Capcom. Capcom has been the quiet as fuck one for a while now, and I'm really.
I thought you were gonna say. I thought you were gonna say Ken Levine, because we haven't heard nothing from his studio.
Capcom
Kevin
have
Levine.
become very quiet.
No,
recently.
I mean Capcom became very quiet, so I'm really waiting or looking forward to see what they got, because if like give me like the first trailer of Resident Evil 4 remake.
Well, Pragmata got
or
delayed.
Pragmata, yeah, like a second trailer. Yeah.
Pragmata gives me serious Hideo Kojima vibes. I don't know.
The way they delayed Pragmata was one of the best delay messages I've ever seen. Like that was
brilliant.
like, you cannot get angry at a delay like that. Like, it's impossible.
It's perfect.
It was well done.
Yeah.
Just throw in
it was well done.
Thing and that's it.
Yeah, it was well done.
I love it.
But yeah, no, dude, there's so many games next year that I got the same problem that Chris. It's gonna be like money and time problems. Got too many games that I want to buy and play. Like PlayStation, Nintendo. They got all I want. They know what I want. PlayStation, Nintendo. So
especially like, bro, within the 6 weeks period next year, right? Starting from the end of January, right? Which well, I'm not even gonna pick up this game, right? So I'm not even gonna count Pokemon Arceus, but somebody else can count that, right? But in February,
I'm
right?
not picking up
I'm not in February, right? Early February to late March. Look at all these games that are coming out, right? At least the ones that I'm interested in. You have Sifu, Horizon Forbidden West, Elden Ring, Gran Turismo 7, Project Triangle Strategy, Bayonetta 3. Final Fantasy Origin,
Stranger Paradise,
Paradise. Like, what the fuck? And then that Platinum Games, Babylon's Fall, I think is also
Babylon's
coming out.
Fall, I would also try it. Yeah, actually, I would try it.
Like, what the fuck, bro? Y'all better start delaying.
Again, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink is next year. They released window is 2022. We're just gonna find out when exactly. That's actually, you know what? I'm really excited for that
February
game.
and March. These are just
because
games
of
yeah.
Again, man, like JRPG with an online co-op component that works like an action JRPG. It's a dream, man. It's a dream to play with fellow JRPG fans out there. It's a real cool dream. Yeah. Not exactly. Monster Hunter is, they kind of what do you call this? Monster Hunter is not proper JRPG, if I can call it that way. Grand Blue Fantasy Relink is an existing JRPG IP, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
RPG, but it's more like the looter.
Yeah, more looter thing, looter game. But no, man. Again, people who are saying there's no games, no, they're crazy. They're absolutely crazy, man. Again, I got so many games I want to talk about, so many games I'm hyped for. I don't even know when or where or how to start. Like I'm playing Intergrade right now, and I'm just shaking with excitement for the sequel. Because it's just, you know what I mean? Crazy times, man. Exciting times. And
what you fight Weiss and Nero? Oh my god, okay, you have no idea.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get there. Yeah, no, it's good. I'm also gonna fight Weiss. I'm gonna fight them all.
My most anticipated game is Goodbye Volcano High, and I'm joking. That was a joke.
Dude, how do you even play that game, man? How do you play that?
It's in development hell right now.
I'm not.
Rebooted it.
Of course, it would be if you got a bunch of woke people who are easily offended making a game together. They'll never get along. Honestly, they're probably arguing about hairstyles, and it got so bad that development has crashed. I don't know. Sorry to sound very unprofessional and taking the piss, but guess what, guys? I'm not actually a professional. I do this for a hobby, so deal with it. No, but on a serious note, my most anticipated game is it's tough, you know. Right. Okay. So my most anticipated obvious game for 2022 is Horizon Forbidden West, but my most anticipated game that's less obvious, that is still kind of not quite sure whether it's definitely coming out or not, is Project Awakening. By Psych.
Oh yeah, Project Awakening and Psy Games as well. Yeah.
That's not coming out.
And joint alongside Crimson Desert. I think both those games look absolutely extraordinary, and then there's Arc Raiders as well. Honestly, guys, like those 4 games for me.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Arc
Raiders. Which one?
Does it come out next year? You know what? The only thing about Arc Raiders.
What games are? Arc Raiders.
Looks amazing, right? Because it reminds me like Battlefront, right? And I love Battlefront too, right?
From the ex-Battlefield devs.
The only thing that kind of like I'm gonna get it, like I'm gonna play it and whatnot, but the only thing that I'm like, damn it, is that it's going to be a free to play game.
No, but you know what, bro? I cannot believe a game with this production value is going free to play, and I'm all for it. I'm all for it, dude. I mean, if free to play is done right, like Warzone, it can be non-intrusive and not ruin the experience. But no, I hear you. I would pay big money for this, but if it's free to play, then you know, let's hope its monetization is done right.
But no, Arc Riders, ex-Battlefield developers. Yeah, it really looks.
To
good.
me, it's not even
another one.
Hold on. To me, it's not the monetization that worries me about free to play, because that doesn't really bother me. It's the content and the amount of content that's going to be there, and the amount of time you have to spend to unlock some of these content and shit like that.
I got it. Yeah,
I agree.
By the way, another multiplayer game that people keep forgetting because it's from South Korea. It's Project Magnum.
Yeah, I've had that on my eyes for a while.
Yeah,
looks amazing.
That's gonna be interesting.
We haven't seen that. Yeah,
and then
they showed a trailer and Shuei Yoshida marketed it. Yeah, Project Magnum
there's
Project Eve
as well.
Well, they said 2022, right? Project Eve had a release window, I believe. Lost Soul Aside is also aiming for a 2022 release window. So again, man, it's at least just keeps growing.
It's crazy.
It just keep being long, man. It just keeps going long.
Yeah,
growing long.
So
and that's because a lot of the 2021 games got pushed into 2022.
Yeah,
so it's making that
it's
making the stack even more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and you know what? Not even 2022, 2023 is also gonna be hot. Like Spider-Man 2, man. Spider-Man 2.
Well,
Venom.
We barely know.
Tony Todd, bro. Tony Todd.
We barely know what games are coming out 2023. We only have barely a handful of games.
It says Spider-Man, only Spider-Man and.
But my most, if I could ask Santa Holst, it would be a couple of things. It would be for a couple of things. It would be MGS3 remake, obviously. That's by the by. It would be for Project Awakening to be real. Even though he's not in charge of it, but you know, it is what it is. It's Santa Holst; he can do anything he wants, right? And it would also be that the web swinging in Spider-Man 2 is overhauled, so that it has real web physics and it's not flying disguised as.
I'm gonna tell you something, man. I'm so biased that because of Tony Todd being Venom's, like it's all I need. it's really I don't know, man. Like the fact that Venom is voiced by Tony Todd is kind of like, you know what, whatever the hell they do with this game, I'm buying it. Yeah. Whatever the hell they do with this game, I'm completely buying it, because just to witness Tony Todd in that Venom perfection is just worth it, in my opinion. He better win best performance or something for that.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that I'd say they're my desires and what I would ask for the most. But comment below, guys, in the chat what you would want from Sony. I think I think a SOCOM remake is a great shout as well. I think we can all unanimously agree with that. I think a lot of us want Killzone remasters or a Killzone remake as well. So
I never been too much into. I mean, I enjoy Killzone too. I rather take a Resistance trilogy remastered over Killzone. My personal opinion.
I'd love a Resistance trilogy remaster, like with the multiplayer as well. That would be amazing.
But so apart from that, one more thing, get excited for our next, the upcoming future. Right? It's not only China and South Korea and more of these countries and more of these indie studios gonna join the party, of course. But yeah, of course, the other third party is also exciting. Capcom, Square Enix, especially Square, because as you know, Square, right? Square and PlayStation are kind of like, they're that close. So it's gonna be exciting. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. No, agreed. So guys, I'd say that kind of wraps it up. I think it's been an awesome show. It's been a little less, I guess you could say, structured than most, and I do apologise. With Christmas and everything, it's been just so busy and chaotic that it's not giving me a lot of time to prepare this week. But the panel has been incredible, and I've just really kind of seen that it's gone really well regardless. And thank you to an awesome panel. Thank you to Zubitech for the time that he took to be with us. That was greatly appreciated. Same with David Faulkner. I'm sure you can agree. Every time he speaks, it's gold, and we learn a lot from him as well. Shout out to the guests that we've had as well: Shaki Shako, Toolman and Family Man Gamer, and Chris, of course. I mean, to have Shaki on is wonderful. He's this podcast's probably most constructive critic. He always gives me constructive criticism, so I'm sure I'm going to get an absolute blasting off of him after this podcast. But I'm extremely grateful as always for all the input that he has into this. He's the reason why my thumbnails improved, if I'm honest, because he criticized them and told me to, Wooly, sort your shit out, make sure your thumbnails are worthy of the podcast.
It looked ugly, man.
Also,
it doesn't make sense.
Also want to shout out to the Sons of Jim Ryan, the PlayStation fans out there.
Sons of Jim Ryan, for fuck's sake.
Just like Sons of Jim Ryan.
It's like a cult. Yeah, Uncle.
We're gonna do the Phil Spencer way, right?
We're not the
shout
Xbox
out to the Sons of Jim Ryan.
We are not the Xbox community. Yeah, all right.
Sons of Jim.
So no, shout out to you guys, and thank you, Shaki, for joining us, and would love to have you on again. If you'll have us. Toolman, same to you, brother. Appreciate you greatly for being on. And Family Man Gamer, it's always a pleasure, my dude. Love it when you speak and you bring a lot to the table. So really grateful for that. And of course, Chris, it's no brainer. Yeah, you live for this shit. So. And of course, Akira and Wilhelm, as always, invaluable panel members, and both of you are basically family, and really appreciate you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
You
take care, guys. Sorry, I gotta go. Yeah, take care. All right.
Bye,
Thank you so
Kira.
much again.
Bye, Akira.
Bye. Take care.
So let's do outros. Shaki, where can we find you, my guy?
Well, you can find me exactly on Twitter. That's the most place you can find me just being active. It's the same name as you're looking at it on the screen, or used to look at it. And right now it has play has no limits. Sheki Sheko, okay. You can also find me on YouTube or Twitch. Again, the same name, Sheki Sheko, the same name if you want me. Okay.
Fantastic. That's great. Thank you. What about you, Chris? Where can we find you, my dude?
Just find me on Twitter and on PlayStation. Pretty much. Sometimes I do spaces. I do plan on doing one tomorrow. And yeah, man, if you just like talk about all sorts of games, whether it's Japanese games, JRPGs, or action adventure games and stuff like that, I'm always down to talk about whatever and take recommendations as well. I got a lot of my backlog right now, but shit, man, I've been gaming like crazy, especially the past couple months. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna getting back the time and setbacks I lost this year due to unfortunate incidents that happened with me a couple times throughout this year. But I am coming back stronger next year in 2022, so I can't wait.
I'm happy for you, man. That's awesome. And Family Man Gamer, what about you, my dude?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, the Family Man Gamer. If you want to add me up on Xbox or PlayStation, my usernames are in my bio. So it's all open and viewable, you know.
Fantastic. It's been awesome, my dude. Thank you for being here. Maximus Wilhelm, where can we find you, my dude?
On Twitter under the ad Maximus Wilhelm, and I also just wanted to say, Shaki, it was great to have you on, man. Thank you for the continuous support you give to us. It's really appreciated, and it was just awesome to be talking with you.
And the same honor to you as well. Likewise.
Yeah,
thank you
for real. It's been awesome. And last but by absolutely no means least, Toolman, did you an outro? Have you outroed?
No.
Of course. Toolman, where can we find you, my guy? Thank you so much for being on.
Well, thanks for having me again. I'm on Twitter at Toolman_55, and in the description it's got of my Twitter account, it's got the gamer tags. You can find me there. So yeah, but thanks for having me.
Thank you to you, my brother. It's been an honor and a privilege as always. Thank you to everyone in the chat. You've been absolutely awesome. Shout out to all the new names. Romaining 2004, Neverland, and it's great to see regulars here too, like Buck and Sergeant. Regular watchers of the show. Really appreciate you, and I really hope that tonight's been fun for you guys to listen to, despite the lack of structure on my part, and I apologize for that. But the podcast has been great. The chat and the discussion and things that have been said, we've definitely had some gems in there. So really appreciate that. But like Brian King said, thank you, Brian. Hit that like before you leave. Make you a mod. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate that, my dude. Definitely hit that like before you leave. Definitely give everybody a follow on Twitter, and I hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas period before New Year. I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas and continue to have a great holiday week going forward. Stay safe. Stay close to those that love you and that you love, and enjoy the community that we're forming. And for just think about this, guys. I'll leave you on this note. 2020 was a shit year for the world. So was 2021, to be honest. It's not been great, has it? But for us nerds, for us geeks, 2022 is our year, alright? It's our year. It's the year of no limits. It's the year where we get gem after gem after gem of incredible games going forward. And for somebody whose passion is gaming, that gaming is a passion for all of us here. There's a lot to look forward to, and to kind of take us to that happy place when real world anxieties get the better of us. 2022 is definitely a gift horse that that's just around the corner. So it's a good time to be a gamer. I'm sure you'd all agree, and it's a good time to be a geek. So leave you with that happy thought. And thank you to everyone once again. Can't thank you all enough for what we're forming here. And we're at 608 subscribers now, I believe, which is insane. Growing onwards and upwards. So catch you all next time, and stay awesome. Catch you soon.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Have a good
Later,
day.
everyone.
Have a good night, everyone.
and silence through the night. What a thrill. I'm searching and I'll melt into but you're so supreme.